If you like the story, you can support the author on Patreon. Link is in the description.
Chapter 41. The quest goes on. Adam. Carter-senpai. Darkness and Kazuma broke into relieved smiles upon seeing the person who suddenly appeared. Their much-anticipated team leader had arrived, the unshakable pillar of their group. Despite their limited time together, Adam's commanding presence and unwavering strength had already left an indelible mark on each team member, inspiring unwavering confidence in his leadership. "You're back, Carter-senpai." Kazuma's anxious heart finally settled. This batch of teammates was truly too difficult to manage. "I'm back," Adam said, his smile radiating assurance. It's heartening to see everyone's spirits so high despite the challenges. Out of nowhere, a blue blur came hurtling towards him like a human cannonball. "Adam, I missed you so much," Aqua yelled, zooming into his chest at breakneck speed. She almost sent him flying. Taking a few steps back to steady himself, Adam patted her head. "Aqua, didn't we just greet each other?" You just greeted each other." His words made Kazuma suspicious, and he looked doubtfully at the two. "I was the first one to discover Adam," Aqua proudly explained. "He has my blessing. I noticed him when he was following behind us." Hearing her explanation, Kazuma finally understood. "Oh, I see. No wonder you were acting so sneaky earlier." He now understood her earlier suspicious behavior. Adam also realized that the advanced water element affinity in his skill list must have been Aqua's blessing. "I'm sorry, everyone. I didn't come to your rescue immediately. I truly apologize for putting you in danger." Scratching his head embarrassedly, he turned to Megaman. "I'm sorry, Megaman." It's okay." Megaman stood behind him, clutching his clothes tightly. The usually lively girl now had a pale face and a dejected expression. She had clearly received quite a shock. Her weak appearance made Adam feel even more guilty. Earlier at the Adventurers Guild, he had seen the team members gathered but didn't approach them. Instead, he followed far behind. From the newbie village to the monster forest, he trailed them the entire way. His intention was to observe how the team would handle unexpected dangers and challenging monsters without him. However, the team's poor coordination nearly led to an irreversible mistake. Adam wasn't worried about Megaman dying. Aqua could resurrect her infinitely. Rather, he feared the little girl might become too scared to face danger again, potentially quitting adventuring altogether. Fortunately, he had rescued them in time, averting disaster. "Megaman, are you okay?" Aqua approached and cast a blessing spell, soothing her wounded spirit. I'm fine, I'm okay," Megaman shouted, trying to act tough. "I'm an archwizard, how could such a small incident scare me?" "You're underestimating me." Her words were full of confidence. If only her legs would stop shaking, it would have been even more convincing. "Carter-senpai, I'm surprised to see your equipment has changed. Is it a special product?" The observant Kazuma noticed Adam's completely new gear from head to toe, immediately guessing these items were from another world. Adam now wore a Demon Slayer Corps uniform and held a black knicker and katana, a stark contrast to his previous appearance. "Ah, indeed it is," he confirmed with a meaningful wink. Then he asked, "By the way, are you continuing your mission?" Kazuma fell silent at this question. Their archwizard was in poor mental state, perhaps abandoning the mission was best. For a moment, he considered retreating. After a pause, he spoke slowly, "Let's give up for now and return in a few days." "Why?" Aqua exploded. She'd been running around all day, and now this guy's talking about calling it quits? No way. Miss Lazy Pants herself, who'd rather nap than lift a finger. And now that she already lifted, might as well go all the way. "I don't want to give up so easily either, but look at Megaman's condition. How can we possibly continue?" Kazuma replied irritably. Aqua's outburst annoyed him, but he knew he had to explain clearly or she wouldn't leave. "But we still have Adam, don't we?" she argued, "and Darkness isn't injured. The four of us can easily complete this mission." "That's right, I'm here too." Darkness chimed in, reminding everyone of her presence. "Listen, Aqua," Kazuma shouted, "for this mission, we can't rely on Carter-senpai. Don't you understand?" Why?" Aqua stood stunned. "That's right, Aqua." Adam added, "If you continue the mission, I won't intervene. After all, this is the mission you accepted." "How could this be?" Aqua couldn't believe it. Adam was a team member, yet he wouldn't help with a difficult mission. This refusal came from someone she had always trusted deeply. For a moment, she couldn't accept it. "Why, Adam?" she asked in panic. "Abandoned." This was her first thought, and her eyes welled up with tears. Kazuma said softly, "A trial and test, no, it's more like training, right?" Despite being a useless pervert, Kazuma was remarkably clever and quick-witted. Piecing together the earlier conversation, he immediately grasped why Adam hadn't appeared. "Bingo, correct. This is indeed training for you all." Adam applauded, confirming his insight. "What if I'm not around? I can't always swoop in to save you from crises, so you absolutely can't harbor any wishful thinking." He gently wiped away Aqua's tears. "So, are you giving up?" This was the team's first mission without him. Adam didn't have high expectations after all. Their coordination and compatibility were still far from ideal. It wouldn't matter even if they gave up. They could always try again later. "Let's." "No way!" Megaman shouted, interrupting Kazuma. "I can't let the team's first mission fail because of me." Wasn't the team's first mission to defeat the Toads?" Darkness softly corrected, but her voice was too quiet for anyone to hear. "My name is Megaman. I control the strongest magic, explosion magic. How could I possibly retreat here? You're underestimating me." Megaman forced herself through her discomfort, swung her cape, and her eyes glowed red with excitement. "Comrades, let's go." With that, she turned and led the way. "What should we do?" Aqua, who had been ready to give up, now looked to Kazuma and Darkness for guidance. "What else can we do?" "Follow her." "That's right, a knight would never let a teammate adventure alone." "Megaman, wait for us." The three hurriedly chased after her. An hour later, in the southern part of the monster forest. Explosion. With a super powerful explosion magic, Megaman blasted the lush green forest into a vast brown crater, reshaping the terrain. The 5 gathered dire wolves were instantly reduced to ashes. Seeing her handiwork, she finally flashed a satisfied smile before promptly fainting. Subjugate 5 forest dire wolves completed. Adam swiftly approached, gently cradling her in his arms. He let out a soft sigh. She really is a stubborn little girl who never gives up. Chapter 42 Casual Chatter. After completing the Subjugate 5 Forest Dire Wolves quest, everyone returned to the Adventurers Guild. The quest reward was Xi 160000, split evenly among Kazuma and the other 3. Though Megaman wanted to give her share to Adam, his insistence that you can't even afford food, so don't refuse left her no choice but to accept the payment. To celebrate their tiring day of adventuring, everyone ordered food and drinks. Gulp, 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 Aqua downed the bubbly wine in big gulps, then let out a satisfied sigh. Humph, as expected, the party can't function without me. She boasted while stuffing food into her mouth. With me, the Great Priestess, in the party, you can all adventure with peace of mind. Don't worry, I've got everything under control. Stupid Aqua, it was clearly Megaman who played the crucial role. What right do you have to say you're the most important? Kazuma shot her down mercilessly. You were just cheering from the back, weren't you? What did you say? Aqua bristled. I was the one who comforted Megaman, and I was the one who healed her in darkness. Is there anything wrong with saying I'm the most important? Well, that's true. Kazuma couldn't argue. As she said, Megaman's ability to continue the mission was largely due to her. Thanks to Aqua, the party members returned unscathed. On the contrary, Kazuma hadn't contributed to this subjugation mission, not even as much as Darkness. At least Darkness had attracted the monster's aggro and taken quite a few claw attacks from the wolves, though she seemed to enjoy it. Still, that was far better than him, who was completely useless. Indeed, Aqua's contribution was significant. Darkness, who had removed her helmet and set down her shield, sat beside Adam and nodded, acknowledging Aqua's enormous contribution to the party's mission. See? I'm a great priestess, much more useful than Kazuma, who's just a mere adventurer. Aqua taunted gleefully. Seeing him at a loss for words and feeling it wasn't enough, she began performing party tricks right in front of him. Kazuma promptly disciplined Aqua. Idiot Aqua, don't spray your dirty water on the food. It's disgusting. I'm the goddess of water. How could I possibly be dirty? After receiving a knock on the head, Aqua settled down, grumbling about his meanness. Amidst the commotion, only Megaman remained silent, eating her food without joining the others' banter. She seemed out of place. Adam noticed her sitting across from him, unusually quiet. Concerned about her mood, he asked, "Megumin, what's wrong?" "It's nothing." She put down her food and said in a low voice, "Should I learn some other magic?" After experiencing this life and death crisis, even she had to admit that explosion magic had significant flaws, no matter how stubborn she was. The main issue was its extremely wide area of effect. Although she could cast her magic instantly due to high-speed chanting, its wide-ranging damage meant that if the target was too close, even she couldn't escape unscathed. Given this, she wondered if it might be better to learn some intermediate skills to avoid getting into unmanageable situations. She considered practical skills like Light Sword, Ice Cleanse, Wind Blade, and so on. "What are you saying, Megumin?" Aqua stood up, exclaiming, "Isn't explosion magic your passion?" "That's right. How could you give up so easily?" Darkness chimed in, trying to persuade her. That's true, but..." Megumin replied, her voice rising, "But I can't be of any help. If that's the case, I might as well quit." Adam interrupted her, making eye contact. "Megumin, didn't you say explosion magic is your only magic? Is your resolve so shallow that you want to give up after just a little difficulty and setback?" "How could that be?" Megumin declared with renewed determination. "Explosion magic is my highest pursuit, more important than my life. That's the spirit." Adam grinned, "This is how you should be. No need to change anything. You're the great archmage I recruited." Although it would be more reasonable for her to learn other magic, Adam couldn't bear to change that stubborn part of her. Would Megumin still be Megumin if she weren't obsessed with explosion magic? He smiled and said, "When you joined the party, I said we'd love to have a genius like you with us. So, you just need to continue down the path of explosion magic." "Adam." Megumin's teary eyes were endearing. "That's right, Megumin." Kazuma chimed in to comfort her, "You're fine as you are. The title Crimson Demon Girl who only knows explosion magic and has a screw loose suits you perfectly, doesn't it?" Kazuma, true to his reputation as a gender equality advocate and sadist, was quite skilled at comforting people in a sarcastic way. Thanks to his timely intervention, which expressed the attitude of the whole party, Megumin's thoughts of quitting were dispelled. "But we really need to figure out something about your explosion magic." Adam furrowed his brow, deep in thought. Megumin asked pitifully, "Do you want me to learn other magic?" To be honest, she really didn't want to. But if he wanted her to, she would definitely do it. Unknowingly, her thoughts were gradually aligning with his. "No, that's not it." Seeing her misunderstanding, Adam quickly waved his hands, "I'm not asking you to learn magic other than explosion magic, but thinking about how to let you cast it multiple times." "Multiple casts?" X4. His words surprised everyone. As everyone knows, explosion magic is related to the mage's mana. The amount of mana represents the power of the magic, though the conversion method is simple. However, because explosion magic extremely depletes the mage's own mana, no mage can control how much is consumed. Basically, it uses up all the remaining mana in one go. And yet he said he wanted to let Megumin cast explosion magic multiple times? This isn't scientific. Of course, it's not magical either. But in Adam's eyes, this wasn't a problem at all. He had several methods to let Megumin cast her magic multiple times, but the simplest and easiest to implement should be this one. As far as I know, there's a type of magic crystal that can be used to cast spells in place of mana. Although it's expensive, it will soon no longer be a problem for us. He recalled that in the original story, Megumin and others relied on high-quality monatites to forcibly use explosion magic as a consumable substitute when they had no mana left. This method was used by Megumin, Wiz, and even Kazuma in his final confrontation with the Demon King. However, monatites were prohibitively expensive, far beyond the means of novice adventurers like their group, especially the high-quality ones. But Adam wasn't worried. He had everything under control. The cabbage harvest season campaign was just around the corner, promising a substantial influx of income. Soon, he'd be able to procure a few monatites as backup for Megumin. All according to plan. Seeing Adam's confident smile, the others were curious but refrained from asking questions. Shouldn't we be discussing how to keep me safe during battle?" Megumin asked timidly, raising her hand. About that." Adam replied with a smile, "Isn't protecting teammates a knight's duty? We'll leave that to darkness." While there were various ways to keep Megumin out of harm's way, such as equipping her with better defensive gear or teaching her teleportation skills, having darkness protect her seemed the most practical option for now. So, darkness, you'll need some special training, Adam declared. Upon hearing his words, Darkness's face flushed with excitement as she exclaimed enthusiastically, her perverted nature remained as steadfast as ever. Are you going to discipline me? Oh, please do. It's my fault for failing to protect Megumin properly. I'll accept any punishment, drill me thoroughly. Come on, ravage me. What the foo? Chapter 43. Everyone's showing off, only Kazuma gets his butt kicked. Hey, Darkness, you pervert, shut your mouth. Kazuma flailed his arms, attempting to cover her mouth. The problem was that Darkness sat diagonally across from him, too far away to reach. What's wrong? Did I say something incorrect? Darkness, without a shred of shame, spoke even louder, come on. Don't hold back, ravage me thoroughly. Unleash all your evil desires upon my body. In an instant, the Adventurers Guild fell silent. Darkness's perverse outburst was truly explosive, shocking the adventurers into speechlessness. All heads turned in their direction. This is... What's going on? In a corner of the guild, a group of adventurers whispered. The guild was so quiet that even their hushed voices carried clearly to everyone around. That female knight said her teammate was going to violate her. Really? No way. It's possible. Isn't that female knight the Iron Maiden who was bullied by her party this morning? Oh. Now that you mention it, I remember too. An unnamed thief whispered sneakily, I heard there's a sadistic guy called Kazuma in their party who always abuses the female adventurers in the team. Meanwhile, a nearby sword master, his eyes gleaming and tears of envy streaming down his cheeks, shouted at the sight of the three beauties, Aqua, Megumin, and Darkness. How enviable! No, I mean, how despicable! Right, the female mage next to him said with disgust, that man called Kazuma is truly an enemy of women. That's right. Indeed. In a moment, rumors were flying. Hey, what's going on? Why is this involving me? It has nothing to do with me. Kazuma gritted his teeth, then stood up and shouted at the thief in the corner who was still spreading rumors, you there, thief. Stop spouting nonsense, or I'll sue you for defamation. Turning to Darkness, Kazuma pleaded. Please, I'm begging you, Darkness, shut your mouth. While everyone else, human or demon, was showing off, Kazuma alone was getting his butt kicked. Though he hadn't caused this incident, he'd somehow been dragged into it. Ahem, Darkness, control yourself. Adam said, seeing the situation spiral out of hand, don't worry, I'll train you well. Just wait for my intense training. In intense training. Darkness's face flushed crimson as she collapsed. One could imagine the unspeakable scenes flooding her mind. Carter-senpai. Kazuma knew his words weren't meant that way, but they were still too ambiguous. Aqua and Megumin, unfazed, continued devouring the food on the table. As chatter in the Adventurers Guild grew louder, the situation became unmanageable. Left with no choice, everyone quickly finished their meals and fled. Well then, see you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. After arranging to meet Megumin and Darkness the next day, the two groups parted ways. Adam, Aqua, and Kazuma returned to the stable. They sat in a circle and began to chat. Carter-senpai, could you share some information about the other world? Kazuma asked. Despite being a traveler from another world himself, he was intrigued by parallel worlds and curious about Adam's travel. Even Aqua's interest was piqued. Yeah, Adam, tell us about it. In her understanding, parallel worlds were as numerous as stars. Although she was a goddess, she couldn't possibly know about all worlds. There were parallel universes even she was unfamiliar with. Well, since you're all interested, I'll tell you about it. Adam said, not refusing their request. He paused for a moment, then continued softly, the world I traveled to is one where humans fight demons, a realm intertwined with the sorrow of both races. He began to unfold the story of Demon Slayer, with Tanjiro Kamado as the protagonist. From his perspective, Adam gradually revealed the worldview and story development. As night fell. What? That Musen demon is utterly despicable. Aqua exclaimed angrily, then added fiercely, if I were there, I'd purify him without hesitation. Being a goddess, she naturally favored humans and deeply despised undead creatures such as skeletons, liches, zombies, and other spectral beings. Kazuma, his tone serious, also chimed in, are demons really such terrifying creatures? As an ordinary high school student with limited life experience, he struggled to grasp the dark complexities of human nature and couldn't properly evaluate Muzan. Nevertheless, he knew deep down that he despised such individuals. All right, let's stop here. Adam said, clapping his hands to interrupt their thoughts. There are countless parallel worlds, don't get so emotional over these matters. Hearing this, Aqua and Kazuma took deep breaths, calming their agitated emotions. By the way, Sato-kun, I've secretly learned many new skills. Want to take a look? Adam produced his adventurer card, displaying his numerous new abilities. With so many skills, there must be one suitable for you. Kazuma eyed the adventurer card enviously, then gritted his teeth and turned away with great effort. I'm sorry, Carter-senpai, but I can't learn them. Why not? Because I've used up all my skill points. Kazuma revealed his own adventurer card. His level had increased significantly, but he had no skill points left. I've learned skills and have no remaining points. Basic magic. This is the lowest tier of entry-level magic. Due to its minimal benefits, even ordinary mages rarely bother learning it. Most prefer to save their skill points for more advanced abilities rather than waste them on such rudimentary skills. However, Kazuma differed from others. His basic magic was incredibly creative. By combining it with his imaginative ideas, he could produce various unexpected effects. The continuous control and special properties complemented each other, making its power rival that of intermediate magic. Kazuma was undoubtedly someone who fought with his brain. Sato-kun, your skills are quite practical, aren't they? Adam patted his shoulder encouragingly. Although Kazuma had always relied on his small tricks due to his innate talents, these tricks often had surprisingly effective results when facing formidable enemies. By the way, Aqua. He pointed at the advanced water element affinity on the adventurer card and asked, did you bestow this skill on me as a blessing? That's right, it's my blessing. You're my follower, and isn't it my duty as a goddess to help my followers? She blinked her large blue eyes and said proudly, with this, you're practically the water goddess's representative in the mortal world. Indeed, it was just as he had thought. This inquiry was merely to confirm. Seeing such a useful skill, Kazuma also clamored for Aqua to bestow a blessing on him. However, after she said, you don't believe in me. You're not my follower, so I can't do anything, he gave up and stopped making a fuss. Presumably, in his heart, he would never want to believe in Aqua. Wait, do I believe in Aqua? Adam couldn't believe it. How is that possible? It's Aqua we're talking about. And so, he fell asleep while pondering. Perhaps because he was hugging a large pillow he hadn't embraced in a long time, he slept exceptionally well that night. Chapter 44 Special Training begins. Adam awoke feeling refreshed and energized. It had been a long time since he'd slept so comfortably. He mused that while he'd heard of people being picky about beds, he'd never encountered anyone particular about body pillows. Gently disentangling himself from Aqua, whom he had been holding, he rose to stretch his stiff muscles. He stepped out of the stable and began his exercises, facing the radiant morning sun. Grasping his black knicker and katana, Adam, shirtless and with eyes closed, commenced his new routine. Sun breathing, first form dance. Sun breathing, second form clear blue sky. Sun breathing, third form raging sun. His eyes still shut, Adam's sculpted body pulsed with vigor, veins visibly prominent on his arms and hands. Sun breathing, 11th form fake rainbow. Sun breathing, 12th form flame dance. Sun breathing, 13th form dance of the fire god. After nearly 30 minutes of intense effort, Adam finally exhaled a fiery breath. The ground around him radiated heat, his footprints etched in near-perfect positions. Sheathing his sword, he jogged a large loop through the beginner's village, both to cool down and to take a quick bath. Upon returning to the stable, he found Kazuma and Aqua just stirring. Good morning, Aqua, Sato-kun. Good morning, Carter-senpai. Good morning, Adam. You're up early. Aqua mumbled groggily, stumbling into his arms. Wake up, Aqua. We have an important task today. Adam said, gently pinching her smooth cheeks to rouse her. Ouch! She whimpered softly. After a brief delay, the trio set out for the Adventurers Guild, where they'd arranged to meet Megaman and Darkness early that morning. Adventurers Guild. Hey, Darkness, Megaman, over here. Aqua called out loudly, her sharp eyes spotting the two girls entering the guild. Once everyone was seated, Adam said, "Great, we're all here. Let's have breakfast." Breakfast? Megaman asked, surprised. "Of course," he replied, waving over a waiter. "I get that it's breakfast, but why?" Megaman's incredulity was evident. As one of the poorest low-level adventurers, she could barely afford lodging, let alone food. To save money, she usually limited herself to one meal a day. This lack of nutrition had left her thin and underdeveloped. She'd acquired her own airport at a young age, much to her chagrin. She often found herself envying and resenting Aqua and Darkness's valleys and alleys day after day. How can you quest on an empty stomach? It's dangerous to be weak from hunger. Adam said, handing her the menu, "Order anything you like." "My treat." "Thank you." Megaman replied shyly, choosing a children's set meal, her recent fixation. "Darkness, you've got a tough day ahead. Eat well." Adam encouraged, passing her the menu and suggesting high-calorie options. "Hold on." Kazuma interjected, slamming his hand on the menu, "Carter-senpai, you should know our party's broke." "What? How?" Adam was bewildered, recalling the Xi 100000 he'd left behind. Including the Purify Cemetery quest earnings, they should have had at least Xi 200000. How could it all vanish in under a week? "It's all Aqua's fault." Kazuma grumbled, "That idiot blew our savings on a single bottle of fancy sparkling wine." "I see." Adam nodded, comprehending the situation. So it was Aqua who had spent the money. I'm sorry." She apologized in a low voice, her eyes brimming with tears. "I know I was wrong." True to her title as the goddess of water, her tears flowed freely. It explained her uncharacteristic silence during the meal, where she'd shrunk into the corner like an invisible person. She had been afraid of his scolding. In the end, Adam realized it was his fault for entrusting the money to her. He had initially planned to give it to Kazuma for safekeeping but feared he might secretly indulge with the succubus ladies. So he had given the savings to Aqua instead. He'd forgotten that the goddess lady herself was quite the problem child. "No matter, I still have quite a few gold bars with me." Adam pulled out several finger-thick gold bars from his pocket and said generously, "Don't worry, everyone. Order whatever you want." These gold bars were travel expenses given to him by the Demon Slayer Corps upon his departure. Rich families indeed gave generous allowances. "And Aqua," Adam added, gently reprimanding her, "don't spend money recklessly anymore. If I hadn't returned, you might have gone hungry." Compared to her miserable experiences in the original story, Aqua hadn't suffered much with his intervention. However, this had also made her more arrogant and unrestrained. He made a mental note to find a way to curb her behavior. Soon after, the waiter brought steaming hot dishes to the table. Everyone ate ravenously, clearing the table in no time. "Phew! I'm stuffed." "That was delicious." "Indeed, it was tasty. I can't even remember the last time I had breakfast." After the meal, everyone lazily sprawled across the table while Adam exchanged the gold bars for Eris to settle the bill. He also accepted a quest. "All right, everyone, it's time for us to go," Adam called out after a brief rest. Although three of them save for Darkness seemed reluctant, they obediently followed him out. "Well then, we're going for special training," Adam announced, turning to Darkness. "Darkness, you carry Megaman on your back." Darkness and Megaman exclaimed in unison, shocked by the instruction. He then proceeded to explain the purpose of this arrangement to everyone. "Aqua and Megaman are our team's most crucial members. We rely on them for explosive output and healing, so they can't afford mistakes. Darkness, as a crusader, your job is to protect these two. If anything goes wrong, you must immediately carry them away from the battlefield." "Understood." "Understood, leave it to me," Darkness replied, seeing the logic in this plan. "You're also carrying a heavy shield, so we'll start with the lighter Megaman to help you get used to it." "All right." Adam continued, "As for Aqua, I'll carry her." Noticing everyone's puzzled looks, he explained. "Though I'm a sword master, my talents allow me to serve as the team's secondary tank. In critical moments, I'll prioritize protecting my teammates." "I see." Everyone nodded in agreement. And so, Darkness hoisted Megaman onto her back, while Adam carried Aqua. "Well then, let's go." The group ran out of the beginner's village, heading west. As they ran, Kazuma's curiosity got the better of him. Carter-senpai, what quest did you actually accept? He knew the cautious team leader wouldn't accept a quest beyond their capabilities, but the unknown task still made him nervous. Adam, with a smile, didn't hesitate to answer. The quest I accepted is subjugate the colony of lizard runners. Chapter 45 Run, Darkness, Run. Run, run. Run faster, Darkness. Keep going. If you feel like you can't go on, just tell me, and I'll restore your energy. At this moment, Darkness was sprinting across a vast, seemingly endless plain. Meanwhile, the other members of the party lounged in the shade of a large tree. To an uninformed observer, it might appear as if Darkness was being treated unfairly. In reality, however, she was thoroughly relishing this shameful ordeal. This is incredible. Isn't it a bit cruel to make Darkness run under the scorching sun? Megaman whispered, it's been an hour already. Shouldn't we let her rest? You have a point. Adam observed the woman panting and dripping with sweat, concluding she must be at her limit. There was no sense in pushing her further, it's better to take a break. I'll go get her. With that, he dashed off. When he returned, a wobbling and exhausted Darkness trailed behind him. In his hand, he clutched a bound red monster, the Princess Runner Lizard. Aqua, restore Darkness's energy. Yes. Aqua bounced over and began casting her recovery magic. At this point, you might be utterly bewildered, struggling to grasp the situation. It all began when Adam accepted the quest subjugate the colony of lizard runners. Subjugate the runner lizard colony. Kazuma, new to this world, asked about these unfamiliar monsters. Aqua explained the details. So we're dispersing or subjugating runner lizards gathered for breeding, right? Correct. But how does this relate to Darkness's training? It's just a suitable quest. Don't overthink it. I see. My mistake. Kazuma nodded, satisfied. No one had further questions. After a 3 to 4 hour run west from the beginner's village, the party reached the runner lizard's plains. Let's rest for 30 minutes before starting. Adam said, allowing everyone to recover. During the break, he explained the mission and Darkness's training. Darkness, your stamina and endurance are incredible, but your burst power is poor, even worse than an average knight. That's your weakness. He accurately identified her flaw. Darkness's stamina and endurance were off the charts. She could run for hours in heavy armor, carrying a massive shield and Megaman, without losing breath. However, her explosive power was weak. This explained why she failed to save Megaman in time when the beginner's Bane attacked. Adam devised a special training method. They'd tether a runner lizard to a tree with a rope, limiting its movement. The desperate creature would dash frantically, providing the perfect training opportunity. Darkness's task was to intercept the runner lizard before the rope went taut, halt its escape, and subdue it. The rope was short, and the runner lizard was swift. To catch it, Darkness needed an incredibly powerful burst of speed, accelerating faster than the creature. This training would significantly improve her explosive power. Darkness, do you understand what I've explained? Yes. Don't hold back in training me. My body is extremely resilient. Uncharacteristically, she didn't make any perverted comments, instead seriously accepting this special training. Clearly, she couldn't forget her failure to save Megaman in time before. Just then, the runner lizards dashed by in front of them. Everyone, prepare for action. Seeing that the group had rested enough, Adam initiated the subjugation mission. Aqua, use your magic to lure the runner lizard colony. I'll capture the runner lizard princess. Sato, climb the tree and cover me. Megaman, use your explosion magic to wipe out all the other monsters at once. Darkness, protect Megaman and ensure she casts her magic successfully. Understood. X4. Now then, let's go. With the command given, Aqua raised her right hand and cast her spell. Force fire. As her magic ascended into the sky, the runner lizard seemingly provoked charged angrily towards the party's location. The monster horde's swift pace kicked up a considerable amount of dust and wind. Stick to the plan. Adam shouted his final instruction before rushing forward. Thunder breathing, first form thunderclap and flash. He charged into the monster horde and, using his brute strength, forcibly snatched the princess running at the front. The speed of thunderclap and flash was astonishing. Before the runner lizards could even react, Adam had whisked away their princess. After a brief moment of shock, the lizards frantically changed direction, intent on reclaiming their leader. But Adam's speed was far too great. The gap between him and the lizards widened until there was enough space for an explosion magic. Megaman. Now, explosion magic. Leave it to me. Megaman, who had been eagerly waiting, raised her staff and unleashed her magic towards the runner lizard colony. Explosion. Boom. A massive explosion erupted amidst the monster horde, instantly vaporizing all creatures within range. True world annihilation, explosion magic was terrifyingly powerful. Returning with the princess, Adam tied a sturdy rope around its neck and tethered it to a large tree, allowing Darkness to begin her self-directed training. Darkness approached the task with intense focus, gradually becoming so engrossed that she started to enjoy herself. The mind of a masochist works in mysterious ways. Chapter 46 The Great Cabbage Harvest Season Battle. For the next few days, the team continued this type of mission. Their targets weren't limited to lizard runners, other magical beasts also served as Darkness's training partners. After all, she has tough skin and dense flesh, resistant to wear and tear, not easily broken. Of course, they avoided toads, goblins, and similar monsters. Adam feared she might engage with slimes or do something unsavory. This routine lasted only a week. Although Darkness's special training results hadn't reached the expected level, they weren't far off. She could now provide timely assistance in generally dangerous situations, which was deemed satisfactory. It wasn't that they didn't want to train longer, but Adam's long-awaited limited-time mission had arrived. That's right. The Great Cabbage Harvest Season Battle is here. Emergency Mission. Emergency Mission. All adventurers, please assemble at the main gate immediately. I repeat, all adventurers, please assemble at the main gate immediately. The guild's broadcast spread to every corner of Axel village. Upon hearing it, all adventurers donned solemn expressions as they grabbed their weapons and armor, heading towards the main gate. It's coming, let's go. Quick, hurry up. Damn, I didn't know it was today. What should we do, what should we do? Hurry home. And keep an eye on the children, don't let them sneak out. Some timid villagers fled to their homes, tightly closing their doors. Merchants swiftly packed up their stalls and evacuated the area. Adam, over here, over here. Quickly assembling with his team members, Adam followed the throng of adventurers outside the city gate. In the distance, a vast expanse of green flew towards the town. It was so dense it would make those with trypophobia uneasy. The atmosphere grew increasingly tense. What's going on? What's happening? Kazuma asked, confused, why does everyone look like this? Kazuma-kun, didn't I tell you a few days ago? Adam tapped his head, the cabbages, did you forget? He had warned Kazuma about the harvest season, fearing he might miss this event. He'd told him to be careful not to wander off these days. But unexpectedly, he had still forgotten. Oh! I remember now. Kazuma clenched his right fist and hit his left palm, the mission Carter-senpai mentioned a few days ago, right? That's the one, but I didn't expect you to forget. Adam hit his head hard again as punishment, then turned to the team members and instructed, this cabbage harvest season is crucial for us, we can't be careless. Our team needs to work together and not scatter. Stick close to me and don't run off. Oh. X4. After that, he led them away from the adventurer group to the front, ready for action. The ripe cabbages were numerous, swarming in densely packed waves, forming a green curtain of light that covered the entire sky. Let's go. Adam commanded, Darkness. Yes. Leave it to me. I'll protect you all. Darkness raised her giant shield, shielding the team from the cabbage's powerful impact. Kazuma-kun, I've recently created a sword technique I'm proud of. Want to see it? Oh, please do. Kazuma gave a thumbs up, impress me, Carter-senpai. Watch closely. Adam gripped his Nichiren blade, standing beside Darkness as he steadied his breathing. Water breathing, 12th form transformation of time rain. In an instant, water blue magical power surged from the Nichiren blade, enveloping a large swath of cabbages. The affected cabbages slowed dramatically, floating past everyone as if weightless. Their impact force had vanished. Phew, well, Kazuma-kun? What do you think of this sword technique? Amazing. Incredible. Wow. Kazuma gazed at the expanse of water blue space before him, his eyes brimming with envy. If only he had spare skill points to learn this technique. Even Aqua, Darkness, and Megaman stood slack-jawed, the dazzling display leaving them stunned and speechless. Now that you've seen it, learn it when you have extra skill points. Adam caged the slowed cabbages and addressed the group, alright, I'll leave the collection to you. Oh. X4. Everyone scrambled to gather the cabbages. Kazuma, ever resourceful, realized his skills weren't needed here. He dashed off to catch cabbages elsewhere, aiming to maximize his harvest. Using his lurk and steal skills, he snagged quite a haul. The cabbages were plentiful and in prime condition. The guild's buyback price of Xi 10000 per cabbage spurred the adventurers into a frenzy. Adam and his team reaped a considerable profit from this windfall. As the cabbage swarm began to depart from the beginner's village, Adam turned to Megaman. It's time, Megaman. The finale is yours. Leave it to me. She flourished her black and red cape, raising her staff. Rejoice, cabbages. Witnessing my explosion magic is the greatest fortune of your lives. Explosion. With a tremendously powerful explosion spell, the great cabbage harvest season battle came to its conclusion. Adam reached out to catch Megaman as she was about to fall. He then regrouped with the others and returned to the Adventurers Guild. With the mission complete, the team resumed their previous routine, taking on monster subjugation quests while continuing to train Darkness. It wasn't until 3 days later that the final count of captured cabbages was announced. Woo! 10.53 million Eris. Adam stared at the list from the Adventurers Guild, astonished by the seemingly impossible figure. He knew he'd caught plenty of cabbages, but this far exceeded his expectations. The reward, a staggering Xi 10530,000, was truly mind-boggling. He couldn't wait to see the joy on Aqua's and the others' faces when they found out. Just then, Kazuma burst in, panting heavily. Carter-senpai. Carter-senpai. Whoa, calm down. What's got you so worked up? Adam motioned for him to catch his breath. Kazuma, still gasping, launched into a tirade about Aqua's latest blunder. Carter-senpai, you won't believe this. That idiot Aqua blew all our money and even racked up debts. What? Adam's jaw dropped. A moment later, realizing Kazuma couldn't be referring to the Xi 10000,000 in his hand, he relaxed only to frown again. Hold on, what exactly happened? Give me the details. Kazuma explained the fiasco. Apparently, Aqua, flush with confidence from their harvest season earnings, had splurged on an expensive bottle of high-grade bubbly wine on credit, no less. That Aqua. Adam's face darkened with anger. This can't go unpunished. Exactly. Kazuma eagerly agreed. Pocketing the reward, Adam headed back to the stable with Kazuma, both determined to deal with her. Chapter 47, Buying New Equipment. Before Adam could confront Aqua back at the stable, she tearfully admitted to her mistake. Aqua, sit formally. Determined to teach her a harsh lesson, he didn't forgive her easily. Instead, he lectured her for 2 full hours. Kazuma chimed in, recounting her past foolish actions and complaining to Adam about all the trouble she had caused. Throughout the ordeal, Aqua sat obediently with her head bowed low. Her pitiful appearance was heart-wrenching. An outsider might have thought she was being treated unfairly and suffering greatly. Aqua, have you reflected on your actions? Yes, I know I was wrong. I'm truly sorry. She apologized to both of them through loud sobs, begging for their forgiveness. Even so, Adam didn't soften. He knew that if he went easy on her, given her carefree and forgetful nature, there would certainly be a next time. And who knew what kind of mess he'd have to clean up then? To make her understand the gravity of the situation, he had to punish her severely. He issued a harsh punishment for Aqua's recent purchase of expensive sparkling wine on credit. Aqua, you've lost your allowance for this month, and your future monthly allowances will be cut in half. Also, you won't be getting any new equipment this time. The more he thought about it, the angrier he became. He pinched her cheeks hard, making her beg for mercy. Did you hear me? Yes, 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 I understand. Aqua nodded sadly, indicating she would comply with the arrangement. This punishment suited her perfectly. Despite her remarkably low intelligence, Aqua was still a goddess, meaning she hardly needed equipment. Any enhancements from equipments were so minimal for her that it made little difference whether she wore it or not. For her, losing her allowance was far more distressing than going without new equipment. Now that Aqua has been punished, let's go buy equipment. We've earned quite a reward from this quest. Adam announced. At the mention of the reward, Aqua perked up instantly. She dashed behind him, gripped his shoulders, and asked in a sweet voice, Adam, the harvest season quest rewards have been distributed, right? How many heirs does our party have? Yeah, Carter-senpai, I'm curious too. Kazuma chimed in. He knew they had harvested a massive amount of cabbage thanks to Adam's bug-level sword skills. However, the sheer quantity made it impossible to keep an exact count, leaving him unsure of their total reward. Earlier, his anger over Aqua's credit-purchased wine had led him to rush back from the Adventurers Guild without inquiring about the reward. Adam waved a stack of large bills. 10.53 million heiress. He declared, including the 100-plus cabbages Satukun caught on his own, our party has earned a total reward of 10.53 million heiress. T10,530,000. Aqua's eyes lit up with money symbols. She lunged forward with a greedy expression, hugging Adam tightly from behind and refusing to let go. Her intention was crystal clear, she wanted a share of the money. But Adam stood firm this time, flatly refusing, don't even think about it, Aqua, you're not getting any of this money. He gently pushed her away, averting his gaze to avoid her crestfallen expression. Kazuma, too, was astonished by the enormous sum. However, unlike Aqua, he refrained from requesting a share of the money. Later, the trio arrived at the Adventurers Guild to find Megaman and Darkness already waiting for them. Megaman, Darkness, you're here early. Adam greeted the two women. Oh, Adam, Aqua, Kazuma, you've arrived. Darkness and Megaman replied. Noticing Aqua's gloomy expression, they asked, what's wrong with Aqua? Is she upset? Well. Adam explained her credit wine purchase without hiding any details. I see. I actually enjoyed quite a bit of that high-grade sparkling wine after Aqua bought it. Darkness said, nodding. She then suggested, how about this? Our quest reward should be substantial. Why don't we use some of it to pay off her debt? I agree. Megaman said softly, Aqua bought the wine to celebrate. Even though I didn't get to drink any, I understand her intentions. Darkness, Megaman. Aqua's eyes welled up with grateful tears as she looked at them. No, I'll pay off her debt myself. Adam interjected, rejecting their proposal. He wanted to eliminate any possibility of Aqua finding loopholes, so he had to refuse their goodwill. Hearing the rejection, Aqua lowered her head again. To dispel Megaman and Darkness's sympathy completely, Adam changed the subject to the cabbage reward, announcing the exciting news in an attention-grabbing tone. By the way, I haven't told you about the harvest season reward, have I? Rejoice, Megaman and Darkness. Our quest reward is a whopping 10.53 million heiress. Darkness and Megaman were stunned by the amount. 10.53 million heiress. I never imagined it would be so much. Darkness remarked, maintaining some composure. As a nobleman's daughter, she had a bit more self-control when it came to large sums of money. In contrast, Megaman's reaction was even more extreme. Having lived for years in poverty, the mention of Xi 10000,000 plus sent her into a frenzy. We're rich, we're rich, we're rich, we're rich. Her eyes glazed over, her mouth endlessly repeating the phrase. Adam clapped his hands, snapping her out of her money-induced trance. Focus, everyone. Let's use this money to buy new equipment. Megaman glanced at her worn staff. Indeed, I do need a replacement. Kazuma tugged at his tracksuit. Right, and I still don't have any armor. Darkness removed her damaged armor. Mine needs replacing too. With everyone in agreement, Adam waved his hand grandly. Well then, let's go. He led the group straight to the weapon shop. Upon returning to the familiar weapon shop, they found the towering shopkeeper sound asleep at the counter. He stirred awake as the group entered. Welcome, how may I assist you? We're here to purchase weapons. Adam stated, taking charge of the situation. The owner gestured towards the wall adorned with various weapons. All our weapons are displayed there. If you require anything special, just ask. Thank you. Adam replied appreciatively. He then allowed his companions to browse and select weapons that suited them best, offering to consult the owner if needed. Adam himself waited by the door, content with his Nichiren blade, a weapon far more suited to his needs. After acquiring their weapons, the group proceeded to buy armor, concluding their shopping spree by nightfall. By then, everyone had significantly upgraded their gear. Their new equipment clearly indicated they had transcended the realm of novice adventurers and now stood as seasoned veterans. Throughout the day, Aqua trailed behind the group in silence. She keenly felt the disparity in their fortunes, realizing that joy and sorrow aren't always shared equally among companions. While the others reveled in their newfound wealth and equipment, her spirits sank lower. Their abundance only highlighted her lack, deepening her despondency. Observing Aqua's listlessness, Adam's resolve finally softened. Discreetly, he purchased a necklace capable of restoring small amounts of mana. Though modestly priced at only Xi10000, the necklace's aqua blue hue perfectly complemented Aqua herself. He bought it, intending to present it to her as a gesture of reconciliation. "Here, for you, Aqua. This is. I noticed you were feeling down, so I got you a small gift." Aqua's face lit up, she exclaimed, her smile beaming with joy, "Thank you, Adam." Her radiant expression glowed in the golden light of the setting sun, momentarily revealing her true goddess-like aura. This sight stirred an unfamiliar flutter in Adam's typically composed heart. Startled by his own reaction, he mentally chided himself. "Get a grip, you fool. It's just Aqua, after all." Chapter 48 Meeting was again. Evening. After a full day of sightseeing, everyone returned to the Adventurers Guild for a hearty dinner. After eating, Aqua leaned in and whispered, Adam, isn't it time we paid back that money?" During dinner, she had noticed her creditor eyeing her intently, which left her feeling uneasy. "You're right. Let's settle Aqua's debt first." Mentioning repayment reminded Adam that he still owed Wiz Xi 200000, with the 1-month deadline fast approaching. It was time to clear that debt too. He escorted Aqua to the guild's bar, repaid the Xi 100000 owed, and reclaimed the IOU. Noting the early hour, he suggested the group visit Wiz's magic item shop. This would serve the dual purpose of repaying his debt and introducing her to his team members. Although Wiz was a lich, she was remarkably friendly towards humans, perhaps the most approachable executive in the Demon King's army. Adam led the group towards a secluded corner of the beginner's town. As they ventured deeper, Aqua sensed something and let out a small exclamation, "Hey!" Noticing they were going increasingly off track, Kazuma couldn't help but ask, "Carter-senpai, where are you taking us?" "To repay a debt and meet a new friend." Adam replied as they walked, "Remember when we were short on money before, and I borrowed from somewhere else?" Kazuma searched his memories. After a moment, he said uncertainly, Is it that borrow 100,000 heiress, pay back double after a month thing?" "That's the one." Adam nodded, "We're going to repay the money now, and I'll introduce you to her while we're at it." "Her." Aqua's face suddenly changed. In Japanese, the pronouns for he and she differ, making it easy to distinguish gender. This wasn't about jealousy or a bad mood. Rather, Aqua had a premonition. The lender must be someone she'd met before, someone she didn't want to see. An innate repulsion and disgust grew stronger as they approached. After many twists and turns, they finally arrived at Wiz's shop. Seeing the familiar storefront, Adam pushed the door open without hesitation. The wind chime rang, and a gentle voice called from inside, "Welcome." The voice drew closer as its owner emerged from behind the counter. Wiz's appearance hadn't changed, she was still that delicate beauty. "Ah! It's you!" she exclaimed upon seeing Adam, her usual sickly beauty giving way to surprise. "Ah! It really is you, you lich! You're Miss Wiz!" Both Aqua and Kazuma cried out in surprise upon seeing Wiz. You know each other?" Adam was taken aback by their mutual recognition. He had arranged for Aqua and Kazuma to complete the Purify Cemetery quest beforehand, but he hadn't expected them to have already met and become acquainted with Wiz, despite the convergence of world lines. "You lich, how dare you seduce Adam? I'll purify you!" Aqua was furious, her anger reaching its peak. Her believer had been seduced by a lich. It must be those huge, burdensome assets. How infuriating! God blow! Aqua swung her fist, now enveloped in a holy aura, aiming straight for Wiz's chest. Burning with jealousy, she attempted to purify this cow lich using the divine energy bestowed by her goddess status. But Adam intervened just in time. "Wait, Aqua!" He pulled her back, "Don't be so rash. Wiz may be a lich, but she hasn't done anything wrong." "That's right." Kazuma chimed in, trying to defuse the situation. "Wiz hasn't harmed any humans, has she?" Besides, she even lent us money, remember? He had just realized that Wiz, whom he'd briefly met during a previous quest, was the kind soul who had lent Adam's I-100000. He quickly spoke up for the gentle lich, hoping to calm Aqua down. But Adam was seduced by her. Aqua pointed at Wiz, her teeth clenched, by those fat burdens. Adam was dumbfounded. Indeed, Carter-senpai might have fallen for that voluptuous bosom. Kazuma remarked, eyeing Wiz with a straight face, after all, with such ample padding, who could resist? Adam only now realized he was being teased. Darkness, standing nearby, seized the opportunity to make a lewd comment. Adam, what are you planning to do with those breasts? Lick them? Squeeze them? Or both? I won't let you have your way. She covered her chest and stepped back, as if trying to escape his non-existent advances. Wait a minute. Wasn't Wiz the focus of the conversation? What does this have to do with you, you pervert? What on earth are you imagining? Meanwhile, upon hearing Aqua call Wiz a lich, Megumin immediately raised her staff, ready to cast explosion magic at any moment. Wait, stop! Kazuma cried out, trying to halt her. If you use explosion magic here, we'll all be blown to bits. But his warning came too late. Megumin, overcome with nervousness, accidentally activated her explosion magic. A massive magic circle appeared beneath everyone's feet, engulfing Wiz's entire shop. Wah! Megumin, what are you doing? Being hit by explosion magic, how wonderful! You idiot, quick, take it back. I can't do it. Megumin wailed in panic. The others, equally at a loss, ran around in circles. Chaos reigned as the situation spiraled out of control. Adam, developing a headache from their impulsive behavior, knew he had to intervene to restore order and clean up this mess. Wiz, please absorb Megumin's magic power. Yes. Wiz, who had been panicking and shouting, quickly responded to his instruction. Sorry, I'm going to absorb your magic power now. She first apologized to Megumin, then used her skill Drain Touch to completely drain Megumin's magic power. Without magic power to sustain it, the magic circle gradually faded away. Everyone exhaled in relief. Fortunately, Megumin had managed to suppress her runaway magic power, delaying the release of explosion magic and averting disaster. Had she failed, they would have all been blown to smithereens. Megumin, you idiot! We told you Wiz is a good person. Why did you try to cast explosion magic? Kazuma berated her, his anger palpable. It's clearly your fault for warning me too late. Megumin retorted, stubbornly shifting blame. If you'd spoken up sooner, I wouldn't have started casting. You're just making excuses. No, I'm not. As the two bickered, another drama unfolded nearby. That lich! How dare she seduce Adam? I must purify her. Aqua seethed. Aqua, please calm down. Darkness restrained her, preventing a confrontation with Wiz. Amidst the chaos, Adam felt a headache coming on. I'm so sorry, Wiz. He apologized, our team has caused you nothing but trouble. He had hoped to introduce his friends to a new acquaintance, not spark a near brawl. It's quite all right. Wiz replied, graciously forgiving their behavior. Please don't worry about it. I'm truly sorry. We'll visit again properly another time. Adam said, handing her Zai-200000. This is the money we agreed on before. But this is too much. Wasn't the borrowed amount only 100,000 eris? Wiz hesitated to accept the money, but Adam gently pressed it into her hands. When you were still struggling yourself, you lent me all your savings. This small repayment is only right. An upright young man should know how to repay kindness. That's that, so we'll be going now. We'll visit again soon. Guiding the reluctant Aqua, Adam and the others prepared to leave Wiz's magic item shop. Wait. Wiz called out, I still don't know your name. Adam Carter, pleased to meet you. He replied with a warm smile. With that, he turned and left with his companions. Chapter 49 Exorcising the Mansion's Evil Spirits Part I. Aqua, being a goddess, naturally opposed Wiz, who was a lich. Ensuring their peaceful coexistence posed quite a challenge. Adam, however, seemed unperturbed by this. The timid Wiz would never actively provoke Aqua, and her peaceful, Non-confrontational demeanor allowed her to tolerate the water goddess's minor whims. Given enough time, even with Aqua's limited intelligence, she would surely recognize Wiz as a benevolent lich. Eventually, the two would likely get along well. After departing from the magic item shop, the group visited the public bathhouse together before disbanding for the day. The three returned to the stable, removed their equipment, and changed into their sleepwear. It's late. We should rest early, we have a quest tomorrow. Adam laid out the 3 bed sheets on the straw mats and, after lying down, urged the others to do the same. Yeah, we've been out all day. I'm exhausted. Aqua yawned drowsily and lay down next to him. Seeing the two of them settle in, Kazuma suddenly felt a wave of fatigue wash over him. Yet, he couldn't shake the feeling he'd forgotten something important. Try as he might, he couldn't pinpoint what it was. Oh well, I'll sleep on it. He muttered, preparing to doze off. But just as he was about to drift off, he bolted upright, staring incredulously at his already slumbering companions. Aqua had nestled into Adam's embrace for warmth, and for some inexplicable reason, Kazuma felt a surge of indignation. Wait just a minute. He growled under his breath, a sudden realization dawning on him, why are we still living in this stable? Hey! Aqua stirred, roused by his outburst. She turned, bleary-eyed, to face his scowling visage. What do you mean? We've always lived here, haven't we? Her drowsy mind struggled to grasp the point of his frustration. That's not what I mean. Kazuma snapped, exasperated, I'm asking why we're still here. Didn't we just earn a hefty reward? Why haven't we moved out of this stable? At last, he'd remembered what had been nagging at him. Moving out of the stable, it had been his long-standing wish to have a room of his own. When Adam had informed him of their substantial reward from the cabbage quest, Kazuma had thought his dream could finally become reality. At the very least, they could have stayed at an inn for the night, couldn't they? So why on earth were they still bedding down in this stable? Adam, now also awake thanks to Kazuma's outburst, wore an expression of sheepish embarrassment. It was, he realized, an oversight on his part. The thought of staying in a spacious, well-lit inn hadn't even crossed his mind. He'd instinctively led them back to this dirty, cluttered stable. As for the exact reason why, Adam was too embarrassed to explain in detail. It certainly wasn't because he couldn't bear to part with his large body pillow. Definitely not. He swears. Kazuma, just bear with it for one more night. We'll move tomorrow. Adam said, gesturing outside, it's already very late. The inns in the village must all be closed by now. That's true. Although Kazuma also wanted to leave right away, he realized it was too late to find an open inn. It was better to endure for one more night. But Satokun's words have inspired me. We should not only move out, but the party members should also live together. In Adam's mind, party members should eat and live together. This wasn't just convenient and time-saving, it would also help build rapport. The benefits were numerous. Let's do this, we'll cancel tomorrow's quest for now. He decided after a moment's thought, since we've got a lot of reward money from this quest, let's go buy a house tomorrow. Aqua, who had been in a daze, immediately perked up at the mention of buying a house. Buy a house? Shouldn't it be a mansion or a castle? Only a mansion or castle would befit my status as a goddess. She fell into a fantasy, imagining her future noble life in a castle. Stupid Aqua, buying a mansion or castle requires a lot of money. Even with our reward, we still can't afford it. Kazuma poured cold water on her fantasy, mercilessly extinguishing her delusion. With her dream shattered, Aqua's excited mood deflated. I guess you're right. It seemed she also knew that the party's reward money wasn't enough to buy a mansion or castle. She immediately gave up on the idea. But in the next second, her mind perked up again as she heard Adam speak. A mansion, it's not impossible. The future is uncertain, but we might as well look forward to it with optimism. The two looked at him with bewildered expressions, not understanding his meaning. Realizing his words were vague, he explained more directly, we will live in a mansion. I promise. Is it true, Adam? Aqua looked up at him, her eyes shining brightly. Could it be that Carter-senpai already has a plan? This time, not just Aqua but even Kazuma widened his eyes expectantly. You could say that. Great. X2. Reassured by his guarantee, the two little adventurers drifted off to sleep contentedly. In their minds, Adam was a man of his word. If he said they could live in a mansion, it was as good as done. The next morning, Kazuma rose early, and even the usually sluggish Aqua woke without delay. Both looked at Adam expectantly, awaiting his instructions. All right, I surrender," he said, raising his hands in mock defeat. He gestured to their nightwear. "Let's change first. We can't exactly go house hunting in our pajamas, can we?" The trio changed at lightning speed and made a beeline for the Adventurers Guild. They arrived so early that Megaman and Darkness hadn't yet shown up. Aqua and Kazuma waited for them off to the side while Adam went to accept a quest on his own. Exorcise evil spirit, exorcise evil spirit. Ah, found it. Amidst a stack of quest notices, he finally located the one titled Exorcise Mansion's Evil Spirits. He had first spotted this quest a few days after returning from the Demon Slayer world. Initially, someone else had taken it on, but it had been reposted days later with a change in reward from Xi 1500,000 to free residency. As Adam pondered, he realized, wasn't this the mansion belonging to that unnamed noble from the original story? If Aqua hadn't brought up the word mansion the night before, he might have overlooked it entirely. Without hesitation, he accepted the quest and headed to the counter to complete the paperwork. Once all party members had assembled, they set out to exorcise the spirit. Chapter 50 Exorcising the Mansion's Evil Spirits Part 2. Is this the place? The group stood before a mansion in the suburbs. According to the quest description, despite its grand appearance, the mansion had few rooms. Each one's usable area had been significantly expanded. The property belonged to a nobleman who, for undisclosed reasons, needed to relocate to the royal capital. His plans to sell were thwarted by an unexorcisable evil spirit haunting the premises. With his departure date looming and evil spirits frequently interfering, the nobleman resorted to posting a quest at the Adventurers Guild, steadily increasing the reward. The goal was simple: exorcise all evil spirits completely, allowing new occupants to move in without fear of supernatural disturbances. Not bad. Very good, quite impressive. Aqua exclaimed excitedly upon seeing the villa. It's perfect for me to live in. Beside her, Megaman was equally overjoyed, her eyes gleaming red and cheeks flushed with excitement. In contrast, Darkness remained composed, showing no signs of enthusiasm. As the daughter of a noble family, such sights were commonplace to her. Let's move into this mansion. Adam's suggestion wasn't without reason. The mansion's value had plummeted at the property assessment office. Its price had dropped from an initial Xi 13,000,000 to a mere Xi 5,000,000, a veritable fire sale. Yet, it still needed a buyer. Without one, the price would fall even further. Adam saw an opportunity, intending to acquire the mansion at an ultra-low price. When he expressed interest in purchasing, the nobleman's butler promptly lowered the price by another Xi 5,000,000, eager for a quick sale. This turn of events delighted him immensely. The two quickly reached an agreement. In the end, Adam bought the mansion for Xi 6,000,000. To clarify, the extra Xi 1500,000 was at the Adventurers Guild. The nobleman had already paid the full reward, and cancelling the quest would incur a 30% commission loss. This reward was included in the mansion's purchase price. Otherwise, the butler wouldn't have lowered the price by another Xi 5,000,000. However, such financial matters were trivial to them. They had Aqua, a goddess, on their side. Any evil spirit that encountered her would either retreat or be sent straight to heaven. Darkness voiced her concern: "Can we really exorcise these spirits? I've heard that in town lately, no matter how many times you banish them, new evil spirits keep appearing." "That's right." Megaman added anxiously, "This mansion seems to have been vacant for a while, and the evil spirit disturbances only started recently. Could it be a haunted house?" "Don't worry." Adam reassured the two anxious girls, "Aqua is a high priestess. Dealing with mere evil spirits is child's play for her, isn't it?" "Exactly." Kazuma chimed in, "Aqua's a high priestess. What are you afraid of?" Aqua puffed out her chest and declared, "Just leave it to me." "All right, it's getting late. Let's go in." Adam called out, "We need to unpack our luggage, or we won't have anywhere to sleep tonight." "Wait." Aqua stood motionless before the mansion, raising both hands to sense something with her magic. I see it," she muttered. "This mansion once confined an illegitimate child of a nobleman. That girl was born from a nobleman's momentary indiscretion with a maid. Her name is Anaphylant Estroid. She likes dolls, puppets, and adventure stories about adventurers. She fluently recounted the mansion's history and the haunting evil spirit's life story in great detail. While Kazuma, Megaman, and Darkness dismissed her claims as mere boasting, Adam never doubted Aqua's divine ability to exorcise evil spirits. He recognized, however, that her skills in other areas were rather lackluster, and her often foolish behavior was unbecoming of a goddess. Next came the room allocation. The group unanimously insisted that Adam take the largest master bedroom in the center of the second floor. Despite his reluctance, he had to acquiesce. From left to right, the 5 rooms were assigned to Kazuma, Aqua, Adam, Megaman, and Darkness. After unpacking and settling in, they all sat cross-legged on their beds, silently awaiting the stroke of midnight. Time crept forward, inching ever closer to midnight. Just as Adam began to wonder why the evil spirits hadn't materialized, a faint sound echoed from the room's door. Click! The door swung open. At last, they've arrived, he thought, discreetly activating the sun-breathing technique. Adam was eager to test whether sun-breathing would affect evil spirits. If successful, it would significantly broaden the technique's applications. His sharp eyes snapped open, fixing an intense gaze upon the doorway. It seemed as if a sun had ignited in his gaze, burning the soul of anything that might appear before him. Wah-ah-ah-ah-ah-ah-ah. A piercing shriek suddenly shattered the silence. That familiar voice. It was Megaman. His intimidating stare had startled her. Megaman? Is that you? Adam realized the crimson glow emanated from her eyes. What brings you here? Is everything all right? Well. Megaman, clad in a thin nightgown, fidgeted awkwardly. In an extremely shy, hushed tone, she mumbled, I need to use the bathroom. Would you mind accompanying me? The awkward silence spread in the night. After a moment, Adam cleared his throat and inquired, Ahem, what about Aqua and Darkness? Wouldn't they be more suitable companions? Aqua is exorcising spirits, and Darkness went with her. Megaman explained. I see. Adam mused, that makes sense. Darkness is a crusader, after all. An awkward silence again fell between them, stretching uncomfortably. I can't hold it much longer. Megaman squirmed visibly, her desperation evident. A righteous young man couldn't stand idly by while someone suffered. All right, I'll accompany you, Adam said, grabbing his Nichiren katana before leading her towards the mansion's bathroom. Thank you, Megaman whispered. It's nothing, he replied softly, shaking his head, relying on teammates as normal. Don't mention it. She nodded slightly. Shortly after leaving the room, a strange sound reached their ears. Thump thump thump. Dolls. Turning, they saw a multitude of them floating in the air, their cold, lifeless eyes fixed on the pair, sending chills down their spines. Megaman cowered behind Adam, who stepped forward, raising his katana and activating the sun-breathing technique. Sun-breathing, first form dance. The Nichiren sword, wreathed in scorching flames, swept through the air. It incinerated the dolls and dispersed the evil spirits in one fell swoop. Having secretly learned the high priest skills, Adam could sense that the spirits had truly dissipated. Not bad. He nodded in satisfaction. It seems the sun-breathing technique is effective against evil spirits as well. Adam, I can't hold it anymore. Megaman's body trembled as she tried to move forward, her legs refusing to cooperate. The fright from the evil spirits had pushed her to her limit. What? Adam exclaimed, startled. He swiftly scooped her up and dashed towards the bathroom. Hang in there, Megaman. You have to hold on. Taking the stairs 3 at a time, they reached the bathroom door in seconds. He hastily ushered her inside. Chapter 51 Exorcising the Mansion's Evil Spirits End. After the rustling sounds from the bathroom, silence fell once again. Time stretched on, and Adam grew impatient. Isn't this taking too long? He worried about Megaman's safety. Could she have been attacked by an evil spirit? Just as he was about to knock on the door, he heard her pleading in a low, fidgety voice. I'm a bit nervous. Adam, could you sing a song? Megaman's awkward request caught him off guard. Hey! Adam's head suddenly felt heavy. Young lady, do you realize how difficult your request is? But it wasn't incomprehensible. She was a girl, after all. Even with a door between them, having a man present was embarrassing. This was a perfectly normal reaction. All right, I'll sing. Despite Megumin's demanding nature, the considerate Adam began singing loudly, using his volume to mask her embarrassing situation. Ah, look at all the lonely people. Ah, look at all the lonely people. Eleanor Rigby picks up the rice in the church where a wedding has been. Lives in a dream. Waits at the window, wearing the face that she keeps in a jar by the door. Who is it for? All the lonely people. Where do they all come from? All the lonely people. Where do they all belong? Father Mackenzie writing the words of a sermon that no one will hear. No one comes near. Look at him working, darning his socks in the night when there's nobody there. What does he care? All the lonely people. Where do they all come from? All the lonely people. Where do they all belong? Ah, look at all the lonely people. Ah, look at all the lonely people. Eleanor Rigby died in the church and was buried along with her name. Nobody came. Father Mackenzie, wiping the dirt from his hands as he walks from the grave. No one was saved. All the lonely people. Where do they all come from? All the lonely people. Where do they all belong? When the song ended, Megumin finally emerged from the bathroom, her face flushed. May I ask the name of that song? It's Eleanor Rigby. A very well-known song where I come from. Adam replied, then casually asked, so, how was it? Did you like it? Yes, it was really good. Megumin nodded enthusiastically, but then looked at him with puppy dog eyes. But you're not feeling lonely, are you? No, you're the one who asked me to sing. He chuckled, ruffling her hair. I'm a bit homesick, but nothing too serious. Even as he tried to brush off the issue, Adam knew it would resurface in his mind. On a night like this, in a dark place, reminiscing about his past, he had chosen to sing one of his favorite songs. All right, Megumin, what's your choice? Back to your room or come with me to exorcise spirits? I'll go with you. Megumin blurted out without hesitation, to be honest, I'm really scared. Earlier, in my room, dolls were harassing me. I tried to find Aqua, but she was busy exorcising evil spirits and couldn't help. Darkness eagerly joined her, leaving me all alone. Her voice trailed off, but her eyes shone brightly, silently pleading not to be left behind. Don't worry, I won't leave you alone. Adam reassured her, knowing he couldn't possibly abandon her in this state. What if Megumin suffered a mental shock? He refrained from asking the insensitive question, why didn't you find Kazuma? After all, as the team leader, he was far more reliable than that perverted high school boy. Was that even a question? No, was comparing the two of them a bit insulting? Well then, shall we go? With her consent, Adam set off, Megumin close behind. The two stayed very close. Megumin, silent, kept shrinking behind him, her face still showing obvious signs of fear, tightly clutching his clothes without letting go, following him step by step. The scene resembled a frightened kitten hiding behind its owner, unwilling to be seen. At this moment, Megumin was incredibly docile, exuding a soft and cute aura. If those gentlemen with lowly complexes saw this, wouldn't they cry out, it should have been me? Adam couldn't help but think, is this really the same Megumin who's usually overflowing with Chiyunibu and unrestrained? He was pleased to have a Megumin who wasn't causing trouble. This version of her wouldn't give random orders or interfere with his actions. As they walked towards the stairs, numerous dolls blocked their path. Quite a lot. Sun-breathing, first form dance. Adam drew his sun-breathing sword and, with one swift move, incinerated them all. These low-level evil spirits didn't even require a second move. The sun-breathing technique's inherent solar properties, akin to holy magic, were the natural enemy of the undead. After navigating the mansion, they arrived at the first-floor hall. There, they encountered a pervert. No, I mean... Darkness. Her behavior was truly outrageous and hard to watch. Darkness. What are you doing? Megumin poked her head out from behind Adam. Didn't you say you were going to help Aqua exorcise spirits? Why are you here playing with dolls? Seeing Darkness entangled with the dolls, Adam couldn't help but think of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Darkness, snapping out of her doll-induced trance, exclaimed, no, it's not like that. I really am exorcising spirits, I'm not lying. She raised a white banner, as if to prove her point. As a crusader, holding an exorcism banner did look the part if you ignored her flushed face and disheveled clothes. Adam stepped forward to deal with the evil spirits clinging to her. At this moment, Megaman finally noticed Darkness's attire and shouted anxiously, "Darkness! Your clothes! My clothes? What about them?" She looked down, puzzled. Adam glanced over as well. Darkness was drenched in sweat from her encounter with the dolls. Her thin nightgown clung to her body, accentuating her graceful curves. The sight was unintentionally alluring. Even Adam, who prided himself on his self-control, couldn't help but look twice. He quickly composed himself, though, refusing to lose his composure. Wah! Despite her cold and distant demeanor, Darkness was quite proper and mature in her conduct, much like a noble knight. Though she had her quirks, she was genuinely innocent. Faced with this unexpected situation, the flustered woman didn't know how to react. She could only hug herself and crouch down, curling into a ball. "Here, put this on," Adam said, taking off his coat and handing it to her. "I'll handle the exorcism. You go change your clothes." "Oh, okay. I'll leave it to you, Adam," she stammered, then fled to her room as if her life depended on it. As she ran, her figure was impossible to ignore. The sight was captivating in its own way. Darkness always wore heavy armor, so few people ever saw her true form. Megaman watched the retreating woman and murmured, "How nice." "What's nice?" Adam feigned ignorance. "Humph." Megaman snorted, offering no explanation. "Megaman, this might be a good time to reconsider. Would you prefer to join Darkness, or continue exorcising spirits with me?" "Of course I'm staying with you. Are you trying to get rid of me?" Adam sighed, abandoning his idea of sending her to Darkness. "How could I ever do that?" The pair pressed on with their spirit exorcising mission. As dawn approached, they finally reunited with Aqua, who had been diligently working through the night. Exorcise Mansion's Evil Spirits quest complete. Chapter 52 Succubus Cafe. Everyone gathered in the dining room of the newly moved-in mansion, silently eating breakfast. The spacious dining room and hearty meal should have felt nice, but the atmosphere was awkward. I was wrong, I was really wrong. Please forgive me." Kazuma apologized in a low voice, his attitude sincere. "Humph." Aqua snorted coldly, ignoring his apology. "Kazuma, you stayed at an inn last night. Are you looking down on me?" It turned out the high school boy hadn't stayed in the mansion, but had run off to an inn in town. "You thought that I, a goddess and part-time high priestess, couldn't exorcise the evil spirits from the mansion, so you snuck out to an inn, didn't you?" Her anger grew as she spoke, slamming the table. She felt Kazuma didn't trust her abilities as a goddess. "That's right, I didn't expect Kazuma would abandon us either." Megaman added mercilessly, as expected of the scumbag Kazuma, sneaky and petty. Actually, the reason Megaman blamed he wasn't because he didn't stay in the mansion last night, but because he left without calling her. "Do you know how much mental torture I endured last night? Why did you sneak out by yourself?" She fumed internally. If she was afraid of evil spirits, why hadn't she thought to leave for the night? They could have returned after Aqua, Darkness and Adam exorcised the spirits. Why had she stubbornly stayed? How could she have been so foolish? Yes, I was wrong, I was really wrong." Kazuma clasped his hands, bowing his head in a rare display of humility. "Last night, the doll possessed by the evil spirit targeted me first, and I got scared and ran away. So that explained his absence during the commotion. He'd fled in fear of the evil spirit." "Carter-senpai." Kazuma gave his party leader a pleading look, hoping for help in gaining forgiveness. "Sato-kun." Adam sighed, declining to intervene on his behalf. Abandoning the teammates is inexcusable. Kazuma's actions were indeed wrong and went too far. It's no surprise that Aqua and the others were reluctant to forgive him. Darkness, however, remained silent throughout the meal. She ate quietly, her thoughts clearly elsewhere. When she unexpectedly met Adam's gaze, she quickly lowered her head, avoiding eye contact. A faint blush tinged the fair skin of her slender neck. "Oh, Darkness! Your innocence is showing." That aloof beauty image, keeping everyone at arm's length, has instantly crumbled. Adam felt embarrassed too, but he handled it better than Darkness. At 19, he wasn't experienced, but he wasn't one to shy away from women either. He'd had his share of flirting and dating, though he'd never crossed any lines. The tempting image in his memory was hard to ignore, but he was confident he could maintain his composure. Still, for some reason, he found himself hesitant to look at Darkness. An air of awkwardness slowly grew between them. Eventually, Kazuma was forgiven. He agreed to treat the team to a lavish meal, finally appeasing Aqua and Megaman. Poor guy, his wallet would suffer. Always mindful of finances, he hadn't asked Adam for his share of the cabbage harvest season reward as pocket money. As a result, his savings were meager. Now he found himself at the mercy of two big eaters, Aqua and Megaman. Recognizing the gravity of his actions, Kazuma had no intention of making excuses or avoiding the apology dinner. That evening, everyone reluctantly enjoyed a sumptuous dinner at Kazuma's earnest invitation. In the end, he couldn't escape this ordeal. Damn it! Kazuma muttered, counting the few remaining coins in his hand, on the verge of tears. Adam, unable to bear the sight, gave the pitiful Kazuma I-100,000 as pocket money. Thank you, Carter-senpai. Kazuma thanked him in a miserable voice. What are you thanking me for? This is part of your reward for capturing the cabbages earlier. It's what you deserve. Although Adam hadn't asked for the reward and had contributed the money to the team's common fund, he wasn't one to only take and never give. He would still provide pocket money when appropriate. All right, now that we've finished eating, we should head back. He called out to the satiated group. Wait, Carter-senpai. Kazuma said as everyone stood up to leave, I'll come back later. What's the matter, Sato-kun? Do you need our help? This is my own business. No, Carter-senpai, can you help me? Kazuma hesitated, then added meaningfully, I just need Carter-senpai to come alone. Just one person is needed, all right then. Adam agreed. Since the whole team wasn't needed, it was better to let the others rest. Aqua, Megaman, and Darkness, you guys head back first. Okay. X2. Darkness remained silent, as she had all day. Her condition was somewhat concerning. After parting with the three women, Adam followed Kazuma. Sato-kun, where are we going? Ahem. Just follow me, Carter-senpai. Kazuma led them through secluded alleys, turning left and right until Adam's head spun. When asked about their destination, he remained evasive. Finally, they arrived at a hidden cafe in a small alley. The sign read, Succubus Cafe. Below, in small text, giving you sweet dreams at night. Kazuma pointed at the place of his dreams and whispered, this is a secret among male adventurers, a holy site that Keith and Dust told me about. Holy site? It's just a cafe run by succubi. Adam said, unimpressed, so, what are you suggesting? Let's go in together. Kazuma replied eagerly. No, I'll pass. Adam refused without hesitation. Wait, Carter-senpai. Please hear me out. These succubi are harmless to us male adventurers. Kazuma quickly interjected as he turned to leave, they only work their magic while we're asleep. They simply give male adventurers erotic and exciting dreams. In exchange, they absorb a small portion of our life force as sustenance, while helping us relieve our pent-up energy. Isn't that right? Hey, you know about this, Carter-senpai. Of course. In truth, Adam was aware of such succubus cafes, but he'd never sought them out, nor did he intend to experience their services. Well, why don't you just go by yourself? Adam didn't stop Kazuma, recognizing that the young man had his own journey to make. Every man must face such moments eventually. Oh, and Sato-kun, don't go back to the mansion tonight. He added, a thought occurring to him, Aqua has likely set up a holy barrier around it. Succubi are undead, she'd certainly detect them. You're right, Carter-senpai. Kazuma nodded, confirming his suspicion. Given Aqua's nature, she would undoubtedly do as Adam suggested and erect a holy barrier near the mansion. How could she let undead succubi roam free? If a succubus were caught and exposed him, wouldn't that spell social disaster for Kazuma? After a moment's consideration, he said, I'll stay at an inn tonight. That's fine. I'll explain to the others. Thank you, Carter-senpai. I'm off. Be careful. Adam watched Kazuma eagerly dash inside, shaking his head with a wry smile. This guy might be taking a step towards adulthood mentally, but he's far from truly growing up. Wait a minute. Isn't this situation even more concerning? Chapter 53 Aqua's dim-witted actions. After parting ways with Kazuma, Adam headed to the Adventurers Guild instead of returning directly to the mansion. The guild buzzed with activity. Adventurers clustered in small groups throughout the hall, regaling each other with tales of heroic feats, discussing lucrative ventures, or quietly trading gossip about scandalous affairs. Despite the commotion, a lively and cheerful atmosphere prevailed. An adventurer's life simple, yet far from dull. Welcome. Ah, Carter-kun, you're here. Hey, Luna. Good evening. Good evening. While the Adventurers Guild operated late into the night, only a skeleton crew remained on duty. Usually, just 1 or 2 receptionists manned the counter each evening. Tonight, it was Luna's turn. Luna, the guild's resident flower, could best be described as a mature young woman yearning for marital bliss. Her renowned beauty, particularly her ample bosom, drew admiring glances from most male adventurers. Curiously, despite her top-tier looks, no one had yet courted this blooming rose. On duty today? Yes, I am. Carter-kun, would you like to order something? Not tonight, thanks. Her beaming smile faltered as Adam politely declined her offer to seat him. I'm here to collect a quest reward. He explained, I completed the Exorcise Mansion's Evil Spirits quest last night. Oh, I see. I didn't expect it would be Carter-kun's party that completed this quest. That's impressive. Luna's surprise turned to admiration as she led him to the counter. Please, follow me. At the counter, she began processing the paperwork, her professional efficiency allowing her to calculate the reward quickly. Here's Xi1500,000, the full quest reward. Oh, thanks. Adam pocketed the money and asked, by the way, what's the story behind this quest? Why were so many spirits gathered in that mansion? Do you know the reason? Well. Luna tapped her delicate finger on her chin, pondering for a moment. There's a public cemetery near that mansion, isn't there? Someone played a prank by setting up a large barrier in the cemetery. The spirits, having lost their resting place, simply moved into that empty mansion. As expected. It was you after all, Aqua. Typical. When he first saw this quest, Adam had already suspected it was her doing, lazily setting up a large barrier to complete the quest, without considering the consequences of her actions. TCH, this makes it look like I deliberately schemed for the mansion. An upright young man would never do such a tasteless thing. I'll give up this money and return it to that noble gentleman. I'll consider it an extra expense for buying the house. At that moment, an adventurer called out loudly, wanting to place an order. Luna. Over here, over here. Coming. Please wait a moment. She responded before turning back to Adam. Carter-kun, do you have any other questions? No, that's all. Thank you. Then, if you'll excuse me. All right. As Luna went to attend to the customer, Adam, snapping back to reality, left the Adventurers Guild and headed back to the mansion on the outskirts. I'm back. Welcome back, Adam. Aqua greeted him lazily from her half-reclined position on the sofa. Noticing he was alone, she asked, Hi? Where's Kazuma? Didn't he come back with you? She found Kazuma's absence peculiar. Sato-kun won't be returning tonight. Adam lied to the intellectually challenged goddess, he has some important business to attend to. He emphasized his tone slightly, giving it a serious edge. Business? What business? Aqua's puzzlement grew, that Kazuma is just a shut-in NEET. What important business could he possibly have? Something concerning his future. Adam hinted vaguely, let's not discuss it further. To divert her curiosity, he brought up the issue of the mansion spirits. By the way, Aqua, do you know where the spirits in this mansion came from? Where? The public cemetery next to the mansion. Aqua stiffened immediately, seeming to grasp the situation. I see you figured it out. Adam said pointedly, that's right, it's from the Purify Cemetery quest I asked you to do earlier. Because of the large barrier I set up, those spirits couldn't return home, so they... Her expression turned comically bewildered. She had assumed the spirits would dissipate automatically. Instead, they had moved into this mansion, causing significant trouble for others. This was typical of her, one thoughtless action after another, leaving others to clean up her messes. Aqua, you... I am sorry, I was wrong. I'm sorry, really sorry. Before he could finish, she leapt up and hugged his head tightly, refusing to let go. Hey, let go. Let go quickly. Adam understood her true motive. She simply wanted to prevent him from deducting her pocket money, ensuring she'd have spare cash for bubble wine next month. However, their current posture was highly inappropriate. His head was pressed against her chest. Look, Aqua, I'm not trying to blame you. Adam said, gently extricating himself, it's just that combining the quest with buying the mansion makes me feel like I'm deceiving someone. Oh. I'm sorry. Aqua mumbled, her voice low. It's all right. To ease my conscience, I've decided to return the quest reward. Is that okay? If you say so. After all, it was to make amends for her mistake. What else could she say? That settles it. Now, please let go. Aqua released him, and Adam gratefully inhaled. Where are Darkness and Megaman? He asked, glancing around. Darkness has been in her room since we got back. Megaman bathed and is already asleep. Why aren't you resting too? Me? I was waiting for you. Aqua looked up with a bright smile, grinning at him, her breathtakingly beautiful face right before his eyes. Thump. His heart lurched. Oh no. This feeling. He shook his head, dispelling his fanciful thoughts. I'm exhausted. Adam said abruptly, I'm going to bathe and sleep. You should rest too, Aqua. Sleep well. She chirped, bouncing away. Adam steadied himself and headed for the bathroom. Chapter 54 Bonding in the Bath. An unexpected turn of events. The mansion's bathroom was spacious, easily accommodating 5 or 6 people. On this night, a full moon shone brightly, illuminating everything without the need for oil lamps. Adam's mood lifted at the sight of the massive bathtub and washing area. He mused, this huge bathtub alone makes buying this mansion worthwhile. Magic stones, used as heaters, encircled the bathtub. Their glow mingled with the moonlight, creating a mysterious ambience. Luxurious yet elegant, his special touch. He had splurged on these magic stones as decorations, replacing the original oil lamps that seemed ill-suited to the bathtub. The effect pleased him immensely. Eager to enjoy his creation, Adam washed quickly and immersed himself in the steaming water, the warmth dispelling the spring night's chill. Bliss, pure bliss. Enveloped by the hot, clean water, he felt his fatigue surge, lulling him into a lazy state. His thoughts drifted to earlier events. Aqua and Megaman had bathed together, but his mind wasn't on them. Instead, he pondered about Darkness. Aqua had mentioned that she hadn't left her room since returning. This worried him, especially considering the potential for awkwardness within the squad. Darkness, despite her perverse tendencies, was innocent at heart. Mishandling their relationship could create tension among them all. Adam wrestled with how to approach the situation. Should he apologize? What should he say? He mentally listed some options. 1. I'm sorry for seeing your body, it was my carelessness. 2. It wasn't my intention, I was unwilling to. 3. It's not my fault, it's the world's. Good grief, these are textbook scumbag lines. After long deliberation, only cliché excuses came to mind. Inexperienced and just 19, Adam felt at a loss. Then, an idea struck him. Why apologize at all? Why not simply act as usual? Stay calm. Don't mention the incident. Maintain the same attitude when seeing Darkness. Even in alluring situations, if he remained composed, she'll eventually return to normal. This strategy wasn't just about avoiding embarrassment, it was an upgraded approach. Adam felt he'd stumbled upon a brilliant solution. Yes, that's it. I'm a genius. Right, stay calm, stay calm. Lost in thought, he didn't hear the faint footsteps coming from the changing room. His back to the bathtub, his usually keen hearing wisely chose this moment to be conveniently deaf. It wasn't until a graceful figure entered that he snapped to attention, turning his head to see who had suddenly appeared. Darkness. Oh no. I forgot to hang a sign on the door. I'm not Japanese, how could I possibly have that habit? What do I do? That's right, stay calm, stay calm. Adam chanted this mantra in his mind, turning to face Darkness with a composed expression. Yet his heart began to race wildly. So beautiful. Earlier, the nightgown had obscured his view, but now, without any covering, everything was fully exposed. He had expected the muscular crusader to look bulkier due to her training, but her curves were unexpectedly pronounced. Beautiful, long legs like jade pillars, smooth and shapely buttocks, and full, ample breasts. Waist-length golden hair cascaded down her back, moonlight spilling onto skin as white as porcelain. Coupled with her innate cold temperament, she exuded an aura of holiness. No, as a crusader, she was inherently holy. It was just that her usual perverted demeanor often overshadowed this sense of sanctity. A vision of radiance filled Adam's sight. His blood flow quickened, surging upwards as his body temperature rose. Is this about to activate the Slayer mark? Damn it! Stay calm. Hey, darkness! He managed to say with extreme effort, greeting her as casually as he could muster. Voice okay, tone okay, expression okay. Perfect condition. Darkness heard someone calling her and only then snapped out of her daze. When she saw Adam sitting openly in the bathtub, looking at her and greeting her, her legs went weak, and she collapsed to the ground. Adam. WH. Why? Why? Of course, I came to take a bath. What else would I be here for? His calmness contrasted starkly with her flustered state. Right. Of course, you come to the bathroom to bathe. Darkness finally regained her composure. This distraction seemed to calm her somewhat. Though still visibly nervous, her expression was no longer as extremely flustered as before. Well, that's how it is. But Darkness, you came so late I thought you had already finished bathing with Megaman and Aqua. Yes, I stayed in my room after returning. Megaman and Aqua invited me to bathe, but I declined, not feeling up to it at the time. So that's why you're bathing now. I'm sorry for intruding. Don't worry about it. Adam's soothing conversation had a positive effect. Darkness was now able to speak with him calmly. Time for the next bold move. He'd dispel this awkward atmosphere in the squad in one fell swoop. Darkness, would you mind washing my back? He asked casually, his expression neutral. Darkness froze, certain she had misheard. I usually manage alone, but I'm quite tired. Since you're here, I'd appreciate your help. This time, she realized she hadn't misheard, he was actually asking for her assistance. Without waiting for her to refuse, Adam stepped out of the bathtub, walked to the nearby wooden stool, and turned his broad back towards her. Darkness's mouth opened and closed silently. She clutched a small towel to her body, staring at him in disbelief. Why you? I. Asking me to wash your back. She stammered, flustered once more, and no, well, why are you so calm? What do you mean by asking me to wash your back? This is too much, too fast, my brain can't keep up. She panicked, covering herself and looking at Adam with a mix of fear and confusion. Darkness, relax. He said calmly, we're squad mates. What's there to be shy about? We trust each other with our lives. It's perfectly normal for squad mates to wash each other's backs. His steady demeanor seemed reassuring. But with his back turned to Darkness, who could tell what his true expression was? It's strange, really strange. Even if it's normal, do male and female squad mates wash each other's backs? Haven't you heard of being open and honest? This is just like that. His twisted logic, forcefully stated, made it impossible for Darkness, with her unique preferences, to refuse. Please. Why yes. Darkness took the towel and began wiping his back. Her unsteady movements betrayed her nervousness. After a while. Is that enough? She swallowed hard, finishing her task on his impressively muscular back. Thank you, Darkness. He said gratefully. Then, with a casual tone, he added, would you like me to wash your back? Adam was certain she'd decline. Pushing further would be counterproductive, so he planned to end things there for the night. But to his surprise, Darkness, her face flushed crimson, stammered, please. What's happening? This isn't how it's supposed to go. Shouldn't she have said, no, it's fine, I can wash myself, to which I'd politely respond, sorry then, I'll go first, and we'd part ways? Why did she say please? But the words were out there, and there was no backing down now. Here goes. Adam gently wiped her soft back with the towel, checking about pressure and comfort, adjusting based on her feedback. Darkness's skin was exquisite, smooth as silk and fragrant as an orchid. At such close proximity, he could even detect an enticing fresh scent. Pa, what are you thinking? How can you have such thoughts? But, before, it was through a screen. Now, it's just through air. The two experiences are worlds apart. Adam found himself in an internal struggle. Brain, you're a mature, level-headed man. How can you entertain such thoughts? Body, but you're only 19 years old. I need to explode once in a while. The situation was too much for the hot-blooded youth to handle. In the end, Adam had no recollection of how he returned to his room or fell asleep. Chapter 55 Demon Slayer Mark Training. Early morning. Sunlight streams directly into the room. Adam's room boasts the best location, allowing him to bask in the warm sun first thing in the morning. The morning is the foundation of the day, there's no time for laziness. Gently pushing away Aqua, whom he was embracing, Adam rises to begin his daily morning training. He steps into the courtyard, inhaling the fresh air. Taking his stance, he practices the breathing techniques he has mastered: water breathing, thunder breathing, sun breathing. He honed each breathing style's sword forms to maintain peak condition and keep his skill sharp. A week has flown by since moving into this suburban mansion. Rumors swirl that one of the Demon King Army's 8 generals, the Dullahan, has occupied a nearby castle. The kingdom has urgently dispatched high-level adventurers to subjugate it. This situation has caused a sharp decline in quests at the Adventurers Guild, with most adventurers quietly holing up at home. Consequently, the team members haven't gathered for any quests this week. They haven't been idle, though. Since that night, darkness has largely returned to her usual self, albeit still shy and often speechless around Adam. Her perverted tendencies have noticeably subdued. It's an adjustment for everyone. Adam, too, feels the awkwardness. Yet, maintaining a calm demeanor, he interacts with her naturally, preserving the stability of their relationship. Currently, darkness is honing her explosive power in the suburbs, departing early each morning and returning in the evening. Megumin accompanies her as the protected party, while Aqua lazily remains at home to keep Adam company. As for Kazuma, the neat otaku has temporarily joined another party specializing in dungeon exploration. He claims it's to gain more adventure experience, but it's obvious to all that his true objective is Chris, the thief girl in that party. Indeed, she's the goddess heiress, masquerading as an ordinary thief under the name Chris. Adam refrains from exposing this directly, merely advising Kazuma to avoid creepy behavior and maintain appropriate boundaries to prevent offending others. Over the past few days, he has been researching the Demon Slayer mark. Recognizing his recent laziness, he's decided it's time to enhance his strength. Currently, activating the mark seems the most suitable training method for him. The Demon Slayer mark is a special state from Demon Slayer. Its activation requires a heart rate exceeding 200 beats per minute and a body temperature above 39 degrees Celsius. Those who activate the Demon Slayer mark experience a short-term boost in all physical abilities, not just speed and strength, but even recovery. In this state, sword skills and overall strength double, far surpassing normal levels. However, such power comes at a price. Except for Yoriichi Tsujikuni, no one who activated the Demon Slayer mark lived past 25. The mark's immense power seems to consume life force, as if unleashing all the power meant for after age 25, the years would shrink at once. In short, it's life-consuming. Gon would find this familiar territory. Yoriichi, chosen by fate, lived past 80 with the Demon Slayer mark constantly activated. Gon was saved by Killua's sister Aluka, using her Nin ability wish granting. So what does Adam have? Do you even need to ask? He has Aqua. As a goddess, she possesses the Resurrection Goddess Privilege skill. He can be revived indefinitely, so naturally, there's nothing to fear. Moreover, having just turned 20 a few days ago, Adam has 5 years until he turns 25. That's ample time. He's confident that in 5 years, traversing countless worlds, he'll find a solution. T/N, happy birthday to the MC. Even if he doesn't, the reward from the Supreme God of Gods could be his safety net, right? What's that? The reward can only be obtained by defeating the Demon King? Surely not. After all, who believes a transmigrator can't defeat a mere Demon King? With these thoughts, Adam, now worry-free, began his Demon Slayer mark training using the sun breathing technique. Sun breathing is the original breathing technique, and since Yoriichi could naturally activate the Demon Slayer mark, the technique he created must have some compatibility. Adam's chest heaved greatly, like a rapidly pulled bellows. Thump. 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 Heart rate 80 bpm, body temperature 36.3 degrees Celsius, heart rate 110 bpm, body temperature 36.9 degrees Celsius, heart rate 150 bpm, body temperature 37.7 degrees Celsius. The process continued to intensify. The air around him growed increasingly hot, the temperature rising rapidly. The lush green grass beneath his feet gradually turned yellow. Unconsciously, Adam channeled his mana to accelerate his heartbeat and body temperature, hastening the activation of the Demon Slayer mark. Pop! With a soft sound, his clothes begin to self-combust. Bright red, flame-like patterns emerged across large areas of his body, starting from the upper left of his forehead and extending down to his right leg. They covered most of his body, except for the right side of his face. These fierce flame patterns, rather than appearing ferocious, exude a sense of solemn and majestic dignity. Demon Slayer Mark Mana Enhanced Version acquired. The related skill materializes on his adventure card, confirming he has officially mastered the Demon Slayer mark. So this is the Demon Slayer mark. In this moment, the world he perceived became more vibrant. Colors growed more vivid and distinct, and previously overlooked details flood back into his consciousness. He feels incredible, extraordinarily so. Despite his heart rate exceeding 200 bpm and his body temperature surpassing 39 degrees Celsius, Adam feels he's in the best state since his transmigration. The effects of the mana-enhanced Demon Slayer mark prove unexpectedly powerful. It imbues Adam with a sense of omnipotence. Of course, it's merely an illusion. He grasped his Nichiren blade and once again practiced the sun-breathing technique. The difference is stark, like night and day. Gone is the awkward feeling of constraint, replaced by a sense of effortless freedom. His power is greatly amplified, leaving him deeply fascinated. Most crucially, with mana's support, Adam sensed his life force depleting at a much slower rate. This revelation suggested he might live beyond 25, even disregarding the Demon Slayer mark's effects. After a brief surge of excitement, he felt a slight fatigue. Though enhanced, it's still his first time activating the mark, and like many firsts, it's over quickly. He's no exception. He steadies his breathing, deactivates the Demon Slayer mark, and returns to normal. Fatigue sets in. This initial activation was somewhat uncontrolled, accidentally incinerating his clothes. He's confident it won't happen in subsequent activations. After a short rest to regain his strength, Adam reactivated the Demon Slayer mark. With his newfound experience, this second activation proved smoother and more enduring. Such is the nature of the mark, it improves with practice. The bright red patterns reappeared, now enveloping his entire back and spreading across a large portion of his body. He focused on gathering the inadvertently released mana, concentrating the energy within him, primed to burst forth with even greater intensity. Activating the Demon Slayer mark for the second time, Adam resumed practicing the sun-breathing technique, now with considerably more power than before. Not bad. A few more times and I'll be able to apply it perfectly in real combat. He mused, his lips curling into a satisfied smile. At that moment, Aqua burst out from the mansion, shouting at him. Adam, what are you doing? Have you been infected by darkness, exposing yourself in the courtyard? Then, noticing the flame patterns on his back, she exclaimed, You've been possessed by a fire demon, haven't you? That must be it. No, it's not like that, Adam began, waving his hands frantically, but Aqua was clearly the type whose body moved faster than her brain. She charged straight towards him, yelling, Damn demon, give Adam back. God blow. Adam took the punch head-on without stepping back even half a step. Her skills only had a super strong effect on undead, with no damage to humans. For him, her attack was just like a normal hit. As for a priest's normal attack, well, one could imagine. Aqua, who had just punched his chest, stood there frozen. I made a mistake. Aqua, could you bring me some clothes? Adam asked calmly. Realizing her error, her eyes immediately welled up with tears, but he didn't blame her. After all, Aqua was just worried about him. Yes. I'll go right away. She hurried back to the mansion. Another fun day was about to begin. Chapter 56 Why I End Up in His Room Every Morning? So you're saying that you standing naked in the courtyard wasn't because you awakened some pervert attribute, nor were you possessed by a fire demon, right? That's right, I was just training. Baka. When I woke up and saw you like that, I was really worried. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I know I was wrong. Aqua was uncharacteristically assertive. Adam knew she was worried about him, so he couldn't argue. By the way, Aqua. About that state just now, I have something to ask you. He told her about the condition where one can't live past 25 after activating the Demon Slayer mark, and asked if there was any way to counteract it. Now that he had officially activated the mark, he thought it would be better to ask not just for himself, but also for the Demon Slayer Corps. But unexpectedly, Aqua exploded as soon as she heard it. Ah! Why would you learn such a skill? Hey, why would you learn such a skill? She pounced on him like lightning, violently shaking his neck while crying and shouting, were you possessed by a demon? Were you bewitched by a demon? That must be it. In her mind, this kind of skill was specifically used by the undead to harm adventurers. Many short-sighted adventurers only saw the immediate temptation, leading to the loss of their precious lives at a young age. Could it be to defeat the Demon King? Yes, it must be that. That's why you learned such a skill. Her rusty brain didn't think of a solution, but instead blamed him for his radical training method. Hey Aqua, listen to me. It's only theoretical that I can't live past 25, it doesn't actually apply to me. He firmly held her in his arms, not letting her move around. Besides, you're a goddess, right? Surely you have a way. Yes, that's right. I'm the goddess of water, I can definitely save my own follower. Aqua started to think carefully with her rusty brain. After all, that state consumes life force to activate, right? If it consumes life force, can't we just replenish it? That makes sense. Adam hadn't immediately realized such an obvious solution. That's right, wouldn't it be fine just to replenish the lost life force? This method would be very practical for the Demon Slayer Corps too. Speaking of replenishing life force, he thought of the Lich-type skill Drain Touch. Coincidentally, he had secretly learned this skill when was used it on Megumin at her magic item shop earlier. Does this mean the Hashira of the Demon Slayer Corps can also start training with the marks? Seeing him deep in thought, Aqua puffed out her chest and declared loudly, besides, I'm a goddess, you know. Even if you turn into a pile of ash, I can bring you back. It was only at this moment that she truly looked like one. Thank you, Aqua, for worrying about me so much. I'm sorry. Adam said sincerely. That's right, I was really worried about you. As she spoke, she hugged him again. Just then, Darkness walked in from outside and was shocked by their interaction. What are you two doing? Pointing at them, she stammered, Aqua, you two. What's going on here? Megumin, clinging to Darkness's back, poked her head out. Seeing their intimate behavior, she demanded, why are you two hugging each other? Ah, Darkness and Megumin. Aqua let go and turned to them, cheerfully calling out, welcome back. You're home early today. Welcome back, you two. Adam greeted them, his expression unchanged. But things didn't proceed as usual. Instead, they took a sudden turn. Tell me, what were you two just doing? Megumin stared at them intently, her crimson eyes glowing slightly, a sign of her heightened emotions. I've been suspicious for a while now. Why does Aqua always appear in Adam's room in the morning? Explain this to us in detail. Is that so? Darkness was equally shocked by this revelation. Her room was on the far right, and she usually didn't venture further in, so she was unaware of this situation. See, could it be that you two are? Her perverted mind began to wander. Although she didn't finish her sentence, everyone understood her implication. But in the next second, the two were dumbfounded. You know, it is rather odd. Aqua, the person in question, began to ponder, why do I end up in Adam's room every morning? It's truly perplexing. Megumin and Darkness exclaimed in unison. The two girls were bewildered by her words. Why did they suddenly feel their intelligence dropping? However, upon seeing Aqua's seemingly genuine expression, they realized she wasn't lying, she truly didn't know. If that was the case, there was only one person left. The three girls turned to Adam. Why are you looking at me? I'm just as clueless. He protested indignantly, do you really think I'm behind this? Come to think of it, he was equally confused. Ever since arriving in this world, Aqua had appeared in his arms every morning. He'd grown so accustomed to it that he hadn't even noticed after moving to the mansion. He'd been quite remorseful about the body pillow incident before. How had he forgotten about it so quickly? Well, Adam probably wouldn't do something like that. Indeed. Thanks to his previous upright behavior, they believed he wouldn't engage in such actions. That's right, I trust Adam's character. Darkness nodded emphatically, then murmured, even though I'm right here, he hasn't done anything to me. Her voice was barely audible, but her flushed face betrayed her thoughts. The perverted crusader had clearly succumbed to her fantasies again. If I may ask, does Aqua sleepwalk? Megaman pondered, feeling this was the only plausible explanation. Oh, about sleepwalking. Aqua tapped her forehead, deep in thought, I don't usually sleepwalk, unless there's a pure water element aura attracting me. Ah! She let out a sudden cry, then turned to Adam. She remembered he had her blessing. She had given him advanced water element affinity. What's wrong? X2. As Aqua's gaze turned to him, Megaman and Darkness followed suit, making him nervous. It's the water element affinity. Aqua quickly explained, the water element affinity is attracting me. Oh, you mean this? Adam immediately produced his adventurer card, displaying the advanced water element affinity skill. So that's what it is. Megaman and Darkness nodded, accepting the explanation. Phew, misunderstanding cleared. Adam thought, breathing a sigh of relief. That was a close call. However, they ultimately insisted that he lock his door from now on to prevent Aqua from sneaking in at night. Adam had no choice but to agree to their demand. Chapter 57 First Meeting, Explosion as a Greeting. Oh right, I forgot to ask earlier because we got sidetracked. Why did you two come back so early today? Aqua suddenly remembered the interrupted topic. Darkness and Megaman instantly became awkward at the question. Well, actually. You see, because of certain reasons, we. The two women stammered, unable to explain for a long time, making Aqua impatient as she waited. Just as she was about to press further, Kazuma came running back from outside. It's bad, it's bad. He rushed in hurriedly, nearly tripping over a protruding flagstone. His flustered state was evident. Stupid Kazuma! We never see you around. Where on earth have you been? Aqua didn't know he had temporarily joined another party, abandoning them. If she found out, she'd likely make a huge fuss. Never mind that. Didn't you hear the village broadcast? Kazuma said anxiously, quick, hurry to the village entrance. What's wrong, what happened? Aqua, scared by his tone, couldn't help feeling afraid too. Could it be, you caused big trouble, and some powerful adventurer has come looking for you, demanding a duel to the death at the village entrance? So you've come back for reinforcements. Sometimes, you can't help but admire the thought process of idiots. It's always unexpected, giving endless surprises, and scares. You're really something, Aqua. How is that possible, you brainless goddess? As expected, Kazuma instantly transformed into a roaring beast, mercilessly berating her, I'm a well-mannered, kind gentleman. How could I possibly get into conflicts with others? This guy wears the well-mannered and kind attitude he speaks of? There's a limit to being thick-skinned, Kazuma. Aqua was about to retort, but she swallowed her words the next second, as what he said was truly surprising. It's one of the Demon King's generals, the Dullahan. Kazuma quickly explained, for some reason, that guy is blocking the village entrance, not letting anyone out, saying things like I'll teach you a lesson, just you wait, I'll give you a taste of your own medicine, really concerning stuff. All the adventurers in the village have gone there, so come on, let's hurry and join them. He urged everyone to act quickly. A general of the Demon King's army. Aqua couldn't sit still at the mention of the Demon King's army. She recalled the information from Wiz, to enter the Demon King's castle, they needed to defeat all his generals. This Dullahan had practically delivered himself to their doorstep. How could they not seize this opportunity to weaken the Demon King's army? Adam. Aqua turned to him, her implication clear. All right, let's meet this Dullahan, our first step to making a name for the champion party. Adam, as party leader, issued orders, Kazuma, you're the fastest. Go to the village entrance, meet the other adventurers, and find out why the Dullahan's here. On it. Kazuma dashed off, vanishing in an instant. Aqua, Megaman, you two go now. Aqua, heal any injured adventurers. Megaman, if the Dullahan attacks, use your explosion magic to stop him. Yes. Got it. Adam added, Megaman, use that if needed. Understood. Megaman's demeanor shifted instantly, becoming incredibly spirited as she left with Aqua. Darkness, I'll carry your giant shield. And no need, I can manage. We're short on time, don't argue. Sharing the weight is our best option right now. As a heavily armored crusader, Darkness's gear was extremely cumbersome, especially her 200 kg shield. To ease her burden and increase speed, Adam had to help. After all, the other three were fragile mage types with little physical strength. Let's go. Alright. Adam took the lead and ran out, with Darkness hurrying after him. The party members soon gathered at the village entrance. Is that the Dullahan? The Dullahan. Its appearance resembled the legendary Dullahan, except it had a head while the horse's head was missing. Quite strange indeed. An intimidating pressure emanated from it, its evil magical power like the descent of the abyss, declaring to all that it was a monster symbolizing death and bringing despair. The moment Adam saw it, he knew this was a formidable enemy. How foolish he'd been to think it might not be strong. The knight in jet black armor stood at the main gate, holding its own head in its left arm at its waist. Under the gaze of all the adventurers, it brought the helmeted head before them. Is everyone here? Then allow me to introduce myself again. I am one of the Demon King's generals, who recently moved to a nearby castle. It began to speak slowly about its origin, but towards the end, its head began to tremble slightly. Every day, every single day. Who is that neurotic idiot who keeps coming to my castle to cast explosion magic? This Dullahan seemed enraged to the extreme, even its headless mount neighed and screamed, venting frustration for its master. However, its words enlightened Adam. Explosion magic? Speaking of explosion magic. Explosion magic is. Indeed, when it comes to using explosion magic, it must be her. The adventurers began to whisper among themselves. A moment later, Adam followed the gaze of the other adventurers, all turning towards Megaman standing to the side. He initially wanted to deny it, but seeing her break out in a cold sweat, he confirmed his suspicions. There's no doubt the culprit is you. But wait. Weren't you training with Darkness? Why did you provoke the Dullahan? After using explosion magic, one becomes completely powerless, so someone needs to watch over you. In that case, the accomplice can only be. He shifted his gaze to Darkness, staring until her face flushed red. Darkness, you. It's not like that. Megaman said, nothing but something big and thick can satisfy her, so that's why. Hey, shut up. Don't say such seriously misleading things while blushing. I see. Everything makes sense now. No wonder they stammered and couldn't speak when asked why they came back so early. It turns out the Dullahan discovered them, and they ran back in fear. Adam. Megaman lowered her head, her small face pale as she tightly gripped his hand. Her hand was cold and trembling. He could feel her fear. He comforted her, saying, "It's okay, Megaman. You didn't do anything wrong." Really? Of course. It's the Demon King's army, after all. What's wrong with casting explosion magic on them? After being comforted, Megaman's pale face managed a stiff smile. She let go of his hand, making a move to walk out, intending to face the consequences alone. But Adam held her hand back and stepped out ahead of her, actively leading her. Seeing them approach, the adventurers parted, creating a path to the Dullahan. You two are, so it's you. The Dullahan's eyes fixed on them, and upon seeing the staff in Megaman's hand, realization dawned. Are you the fool who keeps coming to my castle every day to cast explosion magic? If you knew I was a Demon King's general and wanted to fight me, you should have attacked the castle directly. If not, you should have cowered in town. Why use such underhanded methods? I know this town only has low-level adventurers, so I thought I could ignore a backwater like this. But you clueless fool, come every single day to boom 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 with your magic. There must be something wrong with your head. The Dullahan's head shook violently, betraying its fury. The week of continuous explosion magic had clearly pushed it to the brink. I apologize for our great archmage causing you trouble. Adam pressed down on Megaman's head, bowing, we're truly sorry. Hey! The Dullahan faltered, caught off guard by this sincere apology. Well, if that Crimson Demon girl doesn't cast explosion magic anymore, you might as well tell me to die. Megaman exclaimed passionately, cutting it off, Crimson Demons must cast explosion magic once a day, or will die. Hey, I've never heard such nonsense. Don't try to fool me. The Dullahan, not wanting to seem petty, offered an out, just stop casting explosion magic, and I'll let you off. Never. I'd rather die. Megumin stubbornly refused. Realizing persuasion was futile, the Dullahan began to emit a dangerous aura. So you won't give up explosion magic, no matter what? It seems I need to teach you a harsh lesson. Its tone turned menacing, anger simmering beneath the surface. A lesson? It seems our negotiations have broken down. Adam, sensing the hidden threat, spoke with a mix of inquiry and statement, allow me to introduce myself. I'm Adam Carter, a sword master, and leader of the champion party. And you, Mr. Dullahan. My name? Very well, I'll tell you. I am Beldia, a knight by profession, and one of the Demon King's 8 generals. Both sides concluded their introductions. Well then, pleasure to meet you, Mr. Beldia, and farewell. Adam said abruptly, do it, Megumin. Yes, I've been waiting for this. Megumin grasped a monotite with her left hand and raised her staff high with her right. Her eyes gleamed red with excitement as she shouted. Explosion. First meeting, explosion as a greeting to show respect. Chapter 58 vs the Headless Knight. A massive explosion suddenly erupted, and all the adventurers quickly shielded their faces against the wind and sand. The sudden turn of events left them bewildered and confused. Even Aqua and the others in the party hadn't expected Megumin to cast an explosion spell without warning. Megumin! What are you doing? Kazuma's face crumpled in despair. We were just talking, and suddenly you cast an explosion spell. You brain-damaged Chiyunibi, Crimson Demon Girl, what if you've angered it? Hey! Say that again if you dare. Are you looking for a fight? Fine, bring it on. Megumin angrily retorted. She then shouted, Adam told me to do it. He said to cast explosion magic as soon as he gave me the signal. If you have a problem with it, take it up with him. What did you say? It was Carter-senpai. Kazuma had thought she was lying. But when he sought confirmation from Adam and saw the leader nod, he didn't say anything more. In his mind, Adam would never act without certainty. This was indeed his instruction. Earlier, when comforting Megumin, he had said, if negotiations break down, don't hesitate, just use explosion magic. He had no intention of letting the Dullahan go. They had the goddess, its perfect counter. Knowing the Headless Knight's weakness, letting it return would be pure insanity. Did they really need to go through a castle full of traps? Or wait for it to come back again? He didn't have that kind of time to waste. Seizing this opportunity, he was determined to defeat the Dullahan in one fell swoop. A sudden gust of wind cleared the dust-filled clearing, revealing the Headless Knight. It still exuded a powerful aura, its armor as bright as new, without a single scratch. How is this possible? That was Megumin's explosion magic. Kazuma was shocked. Although he considered his party's archwizard to be a mentally ill Chiyunibi girl, he never doubted the immense power of her explosion magic. It had always delivered the final blow in their monster subjugation quests, never failing before. This was the first time it hadn't damaged an enemy. Of course, Adam's thoughts differed from Kazuma's. He didn't believe that a single explosion spell could reduce the Dullahan to ashes. After all, it was a general of the Demon King's army. If it couldn't defend against the spell, couldn't it at least dodge? The Headless Knight, now revealed, was also in a state of emotional collapse. It shouted, suddenly casting explosion magic, what were you thinking, you big idiot? It was part of the Demon King's army, right? One of the 8 generals of the Demon King's army, correct? Why did this novice adventurer unhesitatingly cast explosion magic at it? Didn't she know it was a general of the Demon King's army? Had she always been this brave? Hadn't she heard its self-introduction clearly earlier? You despicable cowards, resorting to sneak attacks. If I hadn't dodged quickly, I might have been injured. Adam smiled slightly, if possible, please refer to our earlier action as a surprise attack. Now was not the time to lecture about youth and martial virtues. He was focused solely on defeating the Dullahan. Seeing that the explosion magic was ineffective, he had Megumin retreat to rest with the party, then stepped forward alone. You are part of the Demon King's army, and moreover, a general. I apologize, but even though our interaction with Mr. Beldia has been pleasant, we still have no choice but to defeat you. Drawing his Nichiren blade, Adam assumed a stance, preparing for a duel to the death with the Dullahan. I see, I understand. The Dullahan had originally intended to merely warn these novice adventurers, but it hadn't expected this to turn into a battle for its defeat. It seemed that unless it made them bleed a little, they wouldn't obediently listen. Although part of the Demon King's army, the Headless Knight prided itself on being a knight, and thus was exceptionally committed to fairness. It abandoned the mounted combat that would have been advantageous, and instead prepared to engage in a fair sword duel with Adam. The two faced each other. Their auras emanated, attracting and colliding, kicking up a considerable amount of dust. The air of experts. It seems I underestimated you. I didn't expect to find such a formidable foe in a beginner's village. Thank you for the compliment. I'm truly happy to be acknowledged by a general of the Demon King's army. Although Adam spoke of happiness, his face remained expressionless. He was who he was and didn't need anyone else's recognition. The Dullahan's aura grew increasingly heavy, and Adam gradually found himself at a disadvantage, being suppressed. This wouldn't do. Knowing that continuing like this would lead to his defeat, he decisively launched an attack, aiming to break this unfavorable situation. I'm coming. But just as he called out, a figure suddenly darted out from beside him, rushing straight towards the Headless Knight. It was Darkness. Hey, you muscle-brained knight, what are you doing? Kazuma, who had gradually become the party's dedicated complainer, shouted again, do you have a death wish? Are you an idiot? Why did you suddenly charge out? Darkness, rushing towards the Dullahan, shouted back without turning her head, as a knight, of course I must protect my comrades. Carter-senpai is our party leader and the strongest among us. Why would he need your help? Do you think you can defeat the Dullahan? This isn't about winning or losing, it's about me, as a crusader, having to stand in front of my party members. What's this? Has Darkness been possessed by a noble knight? Is this really her? Her next words, however, left all the adventurers utterly shocked. Look at that Dullahan. Those evil eyes beneath its helmet are clearly saying it wants to take me back and do unspeakable things to me. You may have my body, but you'll never claim my heart. As expected, Darkness was still her perverted self. This outburst made the Headless Knight stumble back in fear, instantly dissipating the battlefield's tense atmosphere. What is wrong with you people? How bizarre. Is there not a single normal person in this beginner's village? The Dullahan began to doubt its own sanity. Meanwhile, Adam's face was full of apology. I'm truly sorry about my team members' eccentricities. The Dullahan shook its bobbing head, trying to clear its mind. You're all a bunch of deranged adventurers, aren't you? It cursed, then sighed, I only came here because the fortune teller kept raving about a strong light near this town. But I've had enough, I might as well raze this place to the ground. It seemed this group of questionable novices had finally exhausted its patience. What did you say? I can't ignore that. Darkness, being closest, heard the Dullahan's threat to destroy the town. Her face transformed from flushed to serious in an instant. She turned and yelled. I won't allow it. Full of courage. But clearly futile. The Dullahan said impatiently, have you misunderstood something? I am Beldia the Dullahan, a general of the Demon King's army. How could a group of novice adventurers hope to stop me? As it spoke, a dangerous aura surged from its body. It swung its great sword at Darkness, unleashing its full power without restraint. Watch out! Dodge, Darkness! Adam used Thunderclap and Flash to assist, but he wasn't fast enough. One slash. Just one. Darkness's heavy armor and giant shield shattered completely. She crumpled to the ground, her fate uncertain. Darkness. Chapter 59 The Dullahan's Defeat. It's fine. Darkness is a crusader with the strongest defense, a muscle-headed idiot, really. Just one attack won't harm her. You know how tough her skin is, this kind of assault surely can't penetrate it. Even if we entertain the worst-case scenario where the Dullahan kills her, Aqua can revive her indefinitely. It's fine, it's fine. Adam kept reassuring himself. But the moment he saw Darkness fall, that thread of reason in him snapped. Darkness. Rushing to her side, he pulled her out from the heavy fragments of armor, disregarding the Dullahan's presence. Adam hurriedly checked her condition. Darkness. 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 While shaking her body, he checked her breathing and heartbeat, calling for Aqua to heal Darkness quickly. In his panic, he completely forgot that his Thunderclap and Flash was faster. Awakened by the shaking, Darkness coughed a few times, then weakly opened her eyes. Looking at the headless knight, she shouted words a female knight should never utter. Cough, cough. Finish me off. Finish her off. Adam's brewing anger instantly halved. He now firmly believed that Darkness's earlier reckless charge was just to experience the thrill of near death. Adam felt frustrated. He, who had been so worried about her, was truly the fool. What? This time, not just the adventurers, but even the Dullahan was shocked. Darkness had survived its attack. I didn't hold back. The armor and giant shield made from the hardest adamantite ore shattered into pieces. What's the deal with that female knight? It seemed equally bewildered. But Adam knew. I'm sorry. My crusader's body is harder than the hardest ore. I'm truly sorry. Aqua rushed over, taking Darkness away from the battlefield to urgently heal her. The scene once again became a one-on-one duel. The two stood in opposition, their auras instantly exploding and locking onto each other. Thank you for not taking advantage just now, but I'm sorry we must defeat you. No need for thanks. I'm merely adhering to the Knight's code. But do you really think you can defeat me? Don't be too arrogant, novice adventurer. This verbal exchange was the prelude to battle. The auras of the two gradually rose, reaching their peak. Here I come. Bring it on. As before, Adam initiated the attack, holding nothing back. He went all out from the start, employing the water-breathing technique, the Dullahan's greatest weakness. Water breathing, 12th form transformation of time rain. A surge of magical power erupted, enveloping the Dullahan. The calming effect of water took hold, slowing its movements. Transformation of time rain, Adam's proudest domain-type sword technique, had transcended ordinary swordsmanship with its magical power support. If one had to classify it, magical sword technique might be more fitting. This is. The Dullahan's tone betrayed its surprise as the domain engulfed it. It felt its movements become sluggish, the constraining sensation deeply unsettling. Water was its weakness, a fact it hadn't anticipated the youth would exploit. Yet, it didn't panic. Instead, it erupted with enormous magical power, forcibly breaking through Adam's domain. A simple, brutal solution, brute force overcoming technique. Or so it thought, unaware it had already exposed its vulnerability. TCH. Adam's displeasure was evident. Who wouldn't be irked when their proudest technique was so easily shattered? But he didn't hesitate. Water breathing, first form water surface slash. He followed up swiftly, while the Dullahan raised its knight's greatsword, charging straight at him without finesse. A crisp ding rang out as the Nikaran blade and knight's greatsword collided, seemingly an even match. But not quite. In terms of raw strength, Adam was slightly outmatched. Oh! The Dullahan hadn't held back. It hadn't expected anyone in this novice village to withstand its strike. TCH, troublesome fellow. Adam muttered, his expression grim. His opponent was proving more formidable than anticipated, its strength and speed surpassing his current level. Glancing at Aqua and the others' worried faces at the village entrance, he knew he couldn't prolong this fight. Without hesitation, he activated Demon Slayer Mark mode. His water-breathing circulation accelerated, body temperature rising, heart racing. Water breathing, Slayer mode, Demon Slayer Mark. Puff. With a barely audible sound, water blue patterns materialized on Adam's face. His aura swelled dramatically, mind sharpening, strength and stamina surging. That familiar sense of limitless potential washed over him. Finally getting serious. The Dullahan noticed the change. Yoshi, I'll go all out too. It tossed its head skyward, surveying the battlefield from above. Water breathing, 10th form constant flux. Constant flux, water breathing's mightiest offensive technique. With each successive strike, its power grew. In contrast to his flashy swordplay, the Dullahan's counterattack was deceptively simple. Heavy slash. A single, powerful strike using immense strength to forcibly interrupt Adam's combo. Its grand, open swordsmanship appeared deceptively simple, yet it precisely exploited the weakness in his technique. With just one heavy slash, it threw his offensive into disarray. Adam realized the Dullahan's swordsmanship surpassed his own. Furrowing his brows, he understood that mere imitation couldn't bridge the experience gap in swordsmanship. He needed more battles against formidable foes. However, this realization also revealed an opening for a counterattack. Water breathing, 12th form transformation of time rain. Adam condensed the ultra-close-range domain technique within half a meter. Extremely concentrated water attribute magical power gushed out rapidly, once again enveloping the stiffened Dullahan. What? The Dullahan never anticipated that after breaking Adam's sword technique, he wouldn't retreat but instead step forward, forcefully employing a domain technique for an extreme one-for-one exchange. This misconception stemmed from its fixed impression. It hadn't realized its weakness to water had been exposed from the start. It attempted to break through the domain with its enormous magical power as before, but the realization came too late. Moreover, due to the reduced range and the water attribute's potent counter, the constraining effect intensified several-fold, leaving it unable to break free. Water breathing, 7th form drop ripple thrust. Drop ripple thrust strikes a curve from an oblique angle, breaking through especially strong individual impacts. It's the most effective sword technique for dealing with high defense opponents like the Dullahan. Squelch! A sword pierced through its chest. Adam channeled all his remaining magical power, transforming it into pure water that surged into the Dullahan's body, stripping away its ability to resist. Beldia, the Dullahan, defeated. Chapter 60. That's 300 million Eris. After being defeated by Adam, the Dullahan offered no further resistance. Aqua promptly purified it. Perhaps, having been bested in direct combat, it felt it no longer had the right to exist and resigned itself to purification. And so, the Dullahan who claimed to uphold chivalry yet consistently threw its head under skirts to peep dissipated under Aqua's holy purification magic. Its final thoughts were of no consequence to them. The most significant outcome was that Adam, almost single-handedly, had vanquished the Dullahan and become a hero to the villagers and adventurers of the beginner's town. News of this feat would surely astonish the royal capital. Well done, Adam! Aqua exclaimed, bouncing over to hug him after purifying the Dullahan. Her words brimmed with enthusiasm and excitement. Defeating the Dullahan, one of the Demon King's army generals. You've truly lived up to my expectations. She was overjoyed at this moment. Ever since Kazuma had dragged her down from the celestial realm, life had been incredibly difficult, and her return seemed a distant prospect. She had nearly resigned herself to life in the mortal world with Adam. But unexpectedly, events unfolded beyond her wildest dreams. While defeating the Dullahan was a small step towards her return to the celestial realm, it represented a giant leap for the team and Adam's quest to defeat the Demon King. Of course she was elated. Aqua, let go now. Adam gently disentangled himself from her embrace and set her down. Though he didn't mind Aqua's hug, he had a more pressing task to spread the news of their victory to the villagers. The nearby adventurers watched him nervously, their anticipation palpable. Adam fulfilled their unspoken wish by sharing the good news. Oh! Without further ado, he raised his weapon high, proclaiming their victory. Oh! The adventurers responded with an even louder roar, their jubilant cries echoing to the heavens. We won! A magnificent victory! That was the Dullahan! I can't believe we actually won! Yet. That Carter guy, he's a true hero. Hero? Yes, he's a hero. Perhaps inspired by the nearby adventurers, the title of the hero team spread like wildfire, with countless people rushing to share the news. Their previous, more modest name was instantly overshadowed by this wave of excitement. They chanted, Hero! 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 In the end, not only the adventurers but even the villagers came to know this title. Adam's team members instantly became local celebrities. Congratulations, Adam! Said the now healed Darkness and the somewhat recovered Megaman, approaching to offer their praise. Kazuma chimed in enviously, that's amazing. I'd love to be in the spotlight too, but I know I'm not cut out for it. What a shame. He was truly a bundle of contradictions, showing no restraint in his perverted and mischievous behavior, yet displaying remarkable self-awareness and tact in other matters, leaving little room for criticism. Unfortunately, his perverted side was too prominent, and this talent, like those of the other problem children in the team, was overshadowed by his lecherous aura. What are you talking about? Aren't we one team? Adam raised his hand, even if you weren't useful this time, just keep trying. For now, stand tall and proud. Carter-senpai. Kazuma was deeply moved. He then joined in the loud cheering. That's right, that's right. We just need to try harder next time. Aqua exclaimed, raising Megaman and Darkness's hands in a similar fashion. Her face beaming with pride, she shouted victoriously, if we get serious, we can do anything. We're capable people. And if we can't do something well, it's not our fault, it's the world's. Good grief, it was like a chain reaction. Even the Axis cult's teachings had been brought out. However, this time Kazuma unusually didn't mock her, but kept his mouth shut. It definitely wasn't because Aqua had purified the Dullahan in the end while he couldn't help it all. Although Darkness and Megaman also shouted a couple of times, they stopped after a while due to embarrassment. Then came the triumphant return. Surrounded by all the adventurers, the team members walked back to the beginner's town with their chests puffed out and taking big strides. They then took another tour around the village, truly basking in the limelight. Adam felt this was too showy, but he reasoned it was better to go all out and let everyone recognize them now rather than letting their fame spread slowly. This way, with their newfound renown, the team members might also pay more attention to their image when in public. Returning to the Adventurers Guild, after a lively and sumptuous victory feast, everyone returned to the mansion in the suburbs. The next morning, they awoke to a new day. Adam rose and began his daily exercise routine. The peaceful rhythm of their days made the Dullahan's defeat seem almost like a dream. But, 3 days later, a message arrived from the Adventurers Guild, summoning Adam. A reward of 300 million eris. Aqua exclaimed, staring at the check in disbelief. Megaman's eyes gleamed with avarice as she chanted, "We're rich, we're rich, we're rich." Kazuma joined the celebratory chorus. Even Adam's composure cracked. Despite his attempts to maintain a stoic expression, his rapid breathing and heaving chest betrayed his inner turmoil. Xi 300,000,000. The sum was staggering. Darkness remained the most composed, though still visibly surprised, a stark contrast to the others' exuberance. The team's wealth had skyrocketed, achieving a triple increase and surpassing 3 financial milestones in one fell swoop. With their newfound riches, equipment upgrades beckoned. Yet, their first stop was Wiz's shop. Magic item shop. "I see, Mr. Beldia. I apologize for defeating your colleague. It's quite all right." Though Mr. Beldia and I were colleagues, our relationship wasn't particularly close. Despite her words, Wiz appeared somewhat melancholy upon hearing of the Dullahan's defeat, betraying her true feelings. Noticing Adam's peculiar behavior, she inquired with puzzlement, "What are you doing?" "As you can see, I'm restraining a certain avaricious goddess to prevent her from accidentally vanquishing a friend due to her insatiable greed," Adam explained, firmly holding down the squirming water goddess. "Adam, release me. It's 300 million eris, 300 million eris." Aqua protested. Upon learning the bounty for a Demon King's army general was Xi 300,000,000, she had abruptly changed her stance, now insisting on purifying Wiz. "Oh, Aqua. Your money-grubbing nature surpasses even Kazuma's." Ultimately, it took Wiz's earnest plea explaining she carried no bounty in the kingdom to finally dissuade Aqua from her intent to defeat her.
Thanks for listening.